hit subscribe. Subscribe to my guy, Uncle D. Tell him Big Bass sent you.
Dennis Spurling. I'm an attorney here in Houston, Texas, an advocate for black men, largely because I am a black man. I'm a black father. I have black sons. Hey, man, I do what I do.
Rocking with Uncle D. D, yeah, yeah. Now, rocking with Uncle D. Ooh.
Number one button. What's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome, everybody. Hopefully, this internet slowdown will not keep us down. Shout out to my man, Eric Jennings. Shout out to everybody in the chat room. My man, Urban Eagle, good to see you up in here, brother. You get the hand clap for being the first person to contribute to the super chat. Thank you, brother. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hey, hey, hey. Shout out to all my people, man, from wherever you're from. Shout out to the wrench mob. The wrench mob is in the house. All my people with new wrenches, man. I just gave a whole bunch of people some wrenches. So, you know, yeah, y'all keep the chat room regulated, if you don't mind. I don't want to slow this thing down. We got a lot of work going on. So somebody type Diaspora Wars in the chat room. Wars in the chat room. Somebody, Essence Festival 2025 in the chat room. Somebody type Essence Fest 2025 is. You got a lot of foundational Black Americans. Big shout out to all my FBA brothers and sisters. Got a lot of foundational Black Americans who attended Essence Fest or who have attended Essence Festival over the past few years, and they are denoting a marketed change in what they see. And, you know, so today what we're going to do is what we always do on this broadcast, is we are going to have grown folks conversation about what's happening with Essence Festival and the Diaspora Wars and the growing undeniable tension that between Africans and Caribbeans and foundational Black Americans. And just so you all understand, over in the UK, shout out to all my people in the United Kingdom, everybody hanging out in London. Shout out to everybody over in Scotland and Ireland. Big up to you all. I'm gonna start making sure I give y'all love. I'll give you a jelly jar salute to all my people in the UK. Sip, sip, hip hop hooray. So even over there, there's tension between Africans and Caribbeans. And here, as you all know, there's tension between foundational Black Americans and Africans and Caribbean Black people, you know. And it's interesting that we have all this shared culture, but that still does not stop the conflict, even though our African family was subject to colonization, and our Caribbean family was subjected to abject chattel slavery. Seems like we can't find common ground, especially when they come over here. So here's the thing. Let's cut the fake smiles and fake solidarity, because what's bubbling under the surface is no longer hidden. Black Americans are saying out loud what we've always whispered in private. You people are disrespectful. That's what we say. That's what we've been saying. You never respected us. And now that you're here in our house, you're trying to sit at our table and we're checking you at the damn door. Let's be clear. Essence Festival is our thing. It was created to celebrate our culture, our history, our music, our beauty, our struggle. And now it's being co-opted by people who don't even like us. Let be our hires who got here on the backs of civil rights you all who are here, referring to the 1960s is going to be the first opportunity. Shout out to my man Dimitri Clark. The ninth federal which did away with the racial ban that prohibited Africans and Caribbeans and Asians and pretty much everybody else from coming to this country. And so because of that, you all are here. So that happened in the wake of the civil rights movement, okay? Now, why are you all looking down on us? You see? You're looking down on us while collecting checks from institutions built by our trauma. And so the diaspora wars, you know, that's something, you know, the Essence Fest Award is something that's supposed to honor Black excellence. And when I say Black, I'm talking about foundational Black American excellence. And it's got pushed to the back of the line, and you have Africans showing up, you know, with their thing, you see, you know, and we embrace your Afro beats, but you come here to the United States and you take our jobs, you take our positions, in the universities that we fought for. You all apply for Black American scholarships. Apparently, the current Democratic nominee for mayor of New York, in his application to go to college, he signed himself in as an African American, a man born in Uganda of 100% Indian descent. You see? So this is now, you got other people taking advantage of it. But the thing is, like I said, they come for our jobs, for our opportunities, for green cards, and they do so on blood-soaked soil. And then they have the nerve to say we're lazy, ungrateful, or uneducated. They call us Akata, right? They call us cultureless. They call us ghetto while mimicking our slang, our fashion, our music, our swagger, our inventions. And you want us, you know, you want us to be cool with it. You see? You want to disrespect us until it's time for us to stand with you, right? But now what's happening in 2025 is different. The gloves are off, and foundational Black Americans aren't begging for unity anymore. We're demanding respect, and we're drawing the boundaries. If you're not bringing value, if you're not respecting our lineage, if you're not acknowledging that everything you benefit from in America, the voting rights, the civil rights, the affirmative action, the entertainment infrastructure, the international cachet of being Black in America, well, that was built on our backs, okay? You can't acknowledge that, and you're not welcome to claim any of our spaces. Shout out to everybody who is in here. Hit the #1 button as you enter. Now, the thing is, I want you all to understand that this is not xenophobia. It's cultural sovereignty, because while y'all were still under colonial rule, we were fighting Jim Crow with our bare hands. While your grandparents were trying to impress the Queen of or the French, ours were marching through Selma and getting bitten by dogs and hosed by firemen with these water hoses, high-powered water hoses. And see, while you were holding on to the European languages and values, we were in the fields on the chain gangs, creating gospel, jazz, hip hop, blues, and R&B out of our pain. Our culture is not an open buffet. You don't get to pick and choose which parts you like while disrespecting the people who created it. So yes, there is tension, and it is earned. And we've tolerated the shade, the arrogance, and the false superiority complex for decades. We've embraced you as our brothers and sisters, or at least we've tried. And through our attempts, you all look down on us. But see, here's the thing, that era is over. From now on, it's respect or rejection, value or exclusion, contribution or confrontation. If you're an African or a Caribbean, you're here in America, then you ask yourself one question: are you building with us or are you feeding off of us? Because if you're not here to help rebuild what the dominant society has destroyed and tried to destroy over and over again, then the Black American community is not for you. And in fact, you're part of the problem. Essence Festival is fading. You see? It's becoming irrelevant. You see? But here's the thing, FBA culture is still standing. It's still dominant. It's still the blueprint. And now that we've delineated, you'll either honor the culture or you'll be swallowed in it. Now, let's take you all back. Let me take you all back. Let's come on back with Dennis Spurling, yours truly. Back to South Central Los Angeles, born, Grambling State University alumni, proud Generation X, foundational Black American. I graduated from Grambling in 1997. And by that time, Southern University Law Center in Baton Rouge was my next avenue of higher education. And so I was fully immersed in the cultural heartbeat of Black America. In the next summer, 1998, I began to attend the Essence Festival in New Orleans. Keep in mind, Essence Festival started in 1995. So I was pretty much at ground zero, okay? You all hit the #1 button if you can hear me clearly. I need to make sure all hands are on deck. All hands need to be on deck. And let me say this, I appreciate all the super chats. And if you learned something, which you will tonight, then I should earn something. The other thing I want to point out there is if you've been involved in a car accident, you make sure you give me a call today. You understand? We got people in my office right now. If you've been in a wreck, I will get you a check. All right? Because this YouTube is not paying what it should. You understand me? But I'm okay with that because you all will help me buttress my income. So instead of being out here trying to get super chats, y'all can let me just do what I've been trained to do. My phone number is written across the top there, but let me get back to where I was. So, you know, I graduated from Grambling in 1997, went down to the Southern University Law Center in the fall of 1997, and I began to matriculate at SU in BR, okay? So that following summer, I started attending Essence Festival. It was relatively new at that time. And it was like stepping into a living, breathing celebration of everything I was. A proud young Black man, educated, ambitious, smooth. Speaking of which, I want y'all to, today I got this fresh haircut. None of you all acknowledge the fact that I got this fresh haircut, baby. And as I was sitting at the chair, about to be finished, this lovely sister walked up to me. She had to be probably about 55, 60. She just had to come over and tell me how handsome I was. You understand me? She came over right to the chair. My youngest son was with me. She came right over and she said, I just had to come in here and tell you just how handsome you were. And I said, well, gosh, thank you so much. That is so very kind of you. And nothing make you feel better than an older Black woman running up on you and just telling you how handsome you are. And I felt beautiful. I felt all beautiful on the inside. I even gave her a little hug. Thank you, baby, as I was sitting in the chair. But nevertheless, smooth. You see what I'm saying? And that's something that brothers from my age group, Generation X, we prided ourselves on being able to chop it up with the ladies and have a conversation, you know, and you know, spit that hot game in her ear. So, you know, the thing about Essence Festival was this. Shout out to my man Canary Valens. You know, man, it's just rooted in culture, you know, and it was a culture on the rise. But you know, the thing is, Essence Festival back then was for grown folks. You see, it wasn't like the Bayou Classic, where Southern University plays Grambling State University every year on Thanksgiving Day weekend. Okay, that was more of a college crowd. Essence Festival was, shout out to Kenneth Williams. Essence Fest was where mature, intelligent, and classy Black people from all over the country met. It was a place where a brother like me, 24 years old at the time, fresh off the burning sand, suited up in law school on that grind, I could rub shoulders with professionals, elders, entrepreneurs, all while vibing to the best that Black music had to offer. And the women, man, look, let me tell you something. Shapely, stylish, sophisticated Black women from New York, from the Bay, from Chicago, from Charlotte, from New Orleans, from Atlanta. It was like a mecca, you see? And I came down from Baton Rouge with my fraternity brothers, law school classmates, other Southern grads. And, you know, many of them actually lived down there, you know, and we were young, we were sharp, we were respectful, you know, and we were ready. And, you know, the thing is, we weren't thugs. Now, of course, New Orleans being New Orleans, there's going to be that element there, you see? But, you know, we were a new crop of Black men molded by the vision of the civil rights generation and the grit of Generation X. We believed in something, and we believed in Black women. And I remember standing in the Superdome listening to Frankie Beverly and Mays close out the night. I remember seeing Aretha Franklin there, and she just brought me to tears. If you ever have had the opportunity to hear Aretha Franklin sing, man, it's like she fills up an auditorium, and it's just literally breathtaking. And I caught her performance when I was older, but other people like Earth, Wind and Fire, Shaka Khan, Patti LaBelle, these were royalty, and these were the artists who carried our culture with dignity and purpose. And Essence wasn't just entertainment; it was a Black American summit. It was classy, it was sacred. And the city of New Orleans, that is the cultural crossroads of Black America. You see, it sits in the confluence of our people: Texas, Mississippi, Arkansas, Alabama, Oklahoma, Atlanta, even California, the whole East Coast, the Mid-Atlantic. You know, if you were FBA and you wanted to be part of the culture, you made the pilgrimage to New Orleans in July. And it was where style met substance, where the old school met the new school, where relationships were built, not just hookups, relationships. Man, you know, folks met their spouses at Essence. Folks found business partners at Essence. It was sacred ground. So, you know, back in 1995, you know, I'm in my early 20s, you know. Matter of fact, I'm 21. I was just a young man. The hottest movie out that year was Malcolm X, and the music was the message, and the conscious energy was still alive. My generation still loved our people. We respected our elders. We celebrated our women. And sure, we had players. We had hustlers. But we also had culture, consciousness, and class. You see? The Pookies and the Ray Rays didn't run the show. We were outside. We danced. We flirted. We laughed. We didn't need filters and TikToks to feel alive. We lived in the moment. And there were no iPhones to bury your face in, no Instagram algorithms, no twerking contests. Well, there was a couple of twerking contests, but it was an underground thing. It wasn't so mainstream. You know, actually, New Orleans is where twerking started. And they used to call it pee-popping. Twerk some, twerk, but enough of me, twerk. Yeah, you know, never mind. Shout out to Ivy in my best life. I'm living my best life. Thank you so much. I'm gonna make sure I acknowledge all the super chats when I get to that time period. But anyway, what I'm talking about is Black unity. You see, we had that back then. But now the same folks who made Essence special, those people in their 50s and their 60s and their 70s, and they aren't the ones buying tickets anymore. It's the younger generation. They're not motivated to come because the artists they love don't fit the Essence Festival mold. No grown man wants to sit through an hour of degenerate lyrics and half-naked chaos or drill music on that sacred stage. You see, in 1998, that time period, you could bring out a Snoop, a Cube, a WC. You see, we still kept the crowd classy. The brothers knew how to dress, speak, how to perform with presence. They respected the audience. And now you got children on stage with no message, no manners, and no memory of who came before them. Essence used to be the mirror of America's, Black America's best. It used to attract brothers like me, you know, and at that time, young, ambitious, rooted in family and community, you know, and I was a common type of FBA man back in the 1990s, educated, raised on Motown, Malcolm, you know, just grown enough to want something real. You see what I'm saying? That's what Essence was once upon a time. And unless we take it back culturally and spiritually, it's going to be gone for good. Now, fast forward 30 years later. All right. What once was a cultural staple has now been co-opted and rebranded. And the Essence Festival is no longer for us. It's being run by corporate DEI hires. You see what I'm saying? All right. They're trying to turn what was a Black American event into some sort of Pan-African marketplace with Afro beats and jollof rice and no tribute to our legends, no American flag in the building, no recognition of people who built it. That's not unity. That's a takeover. And see, we need to be crystal clear. Foundational Black Americans are not anti-African. We're not anti-Caribbean. We're anti-disrespect. We're anti-theft. We're anti-erasure. You see? You don't respect us. You mock our history. You downplay our struggle. You come here, you call us lazy. You tell us to work harder, even though we built this country. You tell us we're ungrateful, we're uneducated, we're culturalists, all the while living off the infrastructure we built, enjoying the rights we fought and died for, wearing our slang, our style, our skin like it's a costume. You tell us we're not really African. You tell us our culture is ghetto. You tell us our fight is not your fight. Fine. Okay. Now we're telling you the same. Shout out to Penny Ford. What's up, baby girl? See, for too long, this Pan-Africanism has been a one-way street. We give, they take. We uplift, they separate. We invite, they invade. See, you wave your flags at our events. You insert your faces into our story. You rewrite our moments and say we're all the same. No, we're not. And we've drawn the line and we've delineated. This isn't hate, it's boundaries. This is survival, because while we've been fighting for freedom in the belly of the beast for over 400 years, you just got here. And the minute you got comfortable, you started mimicking the white supremacist playbook, looking down on the people whose backs you're standing on. Now, how many of you are shocked and confused about why FBAs are pushing back so hard? You shouldn't be. You were warned. We asked for respect. We asked you to acknowledge our lineage. We asked you to contribute, not compete. And instead, you doubled down on your arrogance. You tried to rewrite who we are. You tried to claim what we built. And now you're facing the consequences. And, you know, if you feel uncomfortable about that, that's good. You should. If you feel called out, well, it's intentional. You should. We, FBA, have been here even before the first African slaves were brought to this country. Nevertheless, we're the builders of the wealth of this nation. We're the defenders of our culture. We're the reason you can walk these streets with a visa or a passport and not be hanging from a tree. We paid that price. So don't come here with your nose in the air. Don't come here thinking you're above us. And definitely don't come here thinking we won't check you, because we will. And we are. And so from this point on, if you want to stand with us, come with respect, come with contribution, come with humility and the willingness to learn, the same way we do when we go to your countries. If not, then you can wave that flag all you want, but you will never, ever be us. So this broadcast, we're going to unpack how we got here. We're going to talk about the cultural shift and what Essence Fest and the events like it mean and have become, and how they become ground zero. Shout out to Timothy Bright for the identity crisis that Black America is facing. We're going to talk about relationships, economics, music, politics, and what the future holds for FBA as we reclaim what belongs to us. And if you're looking for a safe space to be dishonest, this ain't it. But if you're ready for the truth, then let's hang out for a minute. Now, before we get started, of course, I've taken the opportunity to put together some footage. Okay, lots of good footage for everybody to look at. And I'm going to do my best to shout out to Miss Mimi Amini. I'm gonna do my best not to talk over the footage. I know you all don't necessarily want to hear me give my play-by-play on what's being said, but sometimes I cannot resist. Okay, but I'm gonna go ahead and let this.
I got the gist of it right. All right, y'all. On that note,
We're gonna do our best to hold back. Okay.
A lot of people are coming.
Let me see if I can get this up. Let me know if you all.
And before you march her to the chopping block and come for her neck and
let me know if you all can see it.
That you should know more about her.
Hold on a minute. Let me get this together.
Wanga, and she is the CEO of Essence Enterprise. Let's talk about it. Carolyn was born in Kenya and raised in Minnesota and became a single mom at the age of 17 years old. However, she did not let that stop her. She started her career in HR and climbed the ranks as Target's Chief Diversity Officer and is now at the helm of the most iconic platform for Black women, Essence.
Now I'm doing my best not to say anything. Okay? I'm doing my best not to say anything, and I don't want any of you all to say anything either. Okay? We're not gonna speak ill, okay, of our sister. Okay, we're not gonna say anything ill about our beautiful sister with the blue hat on. We're not. Okay, we're gonna reserve that for a later time. Shout out to LaShawn Jones. Let's keep listening. But she's from Kenya, okay, and she moved here when she was young. And
this year's
she's a former high-ranking CEO at Target. I just will say that, and we boycotted Target apparently. I don't know why. I missed that one. I was on vacation, but let's keep listening.
The festival has been surrounded by controversy, and many people are blaming Caroline as well as the owner of Essence Enterprise,
yes, they blaming Caroline.
Dennis, who is of Liberian descent.
Richard Lowe.
Attendees this year felt that Essence lacked the essence of the African American experience and felt that it had more of an African tone, and a lot of people did not appreciate it.
They didn't like it.
From the Jollof to the Jambalaya cook-off to the absence of well-known local vendors, people were not happy with this year's Essence Festival. In addition to that, they felt like the production value of the performances were off. Well-known artist who is known to be late quite a bit, Lauryn Hill, did not perform one evening until 4 a.m. in the morning. Now, we all know that Miss Lauryn is typically late. However, this year it has been cited that it was not her fault and that she was waiting for production issues to be fixed. In addition, Stephanie Mills just released a letter stating her displeasure with how the production value went with this year's Essence Festival.
Okay.
So I want to hear from those who have actually attended Essence Festival either this year or in the past. Does Essence still feel like ours? And is there anything wrong with Essence being really focused not just on the African American experience, but on the experience of Black people worldwide? What are your opinions on that? Get down in the comments and let me know.
So
Africans ruin Essence.
Okay, so you heard what the sister had to say. She was very deliberate in her wording, and she gave us a play-by-play of what's going on. Okay, now this brother right here, he is a Nigerian brother. I can tell. Now, I know my people. Okay, let me just tell you. I'm just letting you know now. If I see you, I can tell by the shape of your head what part of the diaspora you from. I can tell if you're a little. I can look at your head. I can tell if you from Haiti, okay, or if you from Harlem, just by looking at the shape of your head. This man right here, he is clearly from Lagos somewhere. Okay, I'm looking at his head. Okay, I'm looking at his. Look at his head. Look at his head. Look at his eyes. I know my people, and he's from Lagos, somewhere in Nigeria. I bet. Let's keep listening though. Let's keep listening. I can tell where you're from. I can tell. Okay, he ain't from around here. Let's keep on listening. Let's keep on listening to the brother. Listen to him.
You would think you walked around and you just heard Jerusalem. Ikayanami. He no gonna say no. You would think you walked around and everybody was like, baby, come down, come down. That's not what happened. Every corner you turned, you heard what them fans say. Which is traditionally African American jubilation song. Let me tell you something. When it comes to diaspora wars, I do believe Africans be lying. But even more, African Americans be lying as well.
About what?
Because everybody wants to drive their own narrative. So people make up stuff and say whatever they can to sell the point across. Sometimes.
But you know, it's our narrative because it's our festival. But go ahead, brother. Go ahead. Let's keep speaking.
Most of the time, it ain't true. Not even sometimes. What am I talking about?
That's not true.
Like, oh, African Americans ain't got no culture. Oh, isn't it? Like, oh, Africans trying to take over our spaces. Not the case.
It seems like that's what you are.
Africans.
You are taking over Howard University's medical school. I can tell you that now. And if you start looking around at all these historically Black colleges, you will find an awful lot of people with a lot of vowels in their last name. Okay? I'm just pointing that out to you, brother. Okay? I'm just pointing it out to you. Just something to think about. Now, me personally, I'm happy you're here. I'm happy you're here. But when you say you're not trying to take over, you all are like some Africanized bees taking over everything. You were just running around stinging people. Zit, zit. I'm just saying, brother. So let's just keep it 100. You know, and the thing is, y'all be faking Black American until you do something good, then the flags come out. You know, it'd be different if you just kept your flags tucked the whole time. But, you know, and then y'all say mean things like, oh, don't marry them Black Americans and don't hang out. But we know what you do. But let's keep listening.
If Africans were to be present at your festival, trust me, you will know. There will be the smell of suya in the air. Uncles all around the area. Burna Boy and Davido would have been a headliner. It would have been insane. I was there, and my experience was once again enjoying and celebrating and reveling in all the beauty that is Black American culture. The food, the dances, the music. I never for 1 second thought, man, Africans finally took us over. Never.
But see, you wouldn't know. You see, because your cultural experience related to this is like I can go back 30 years. You see what I'm saying? You might have just started going, brother. You know, so the people who've been there and have experienced it was saying it's different now. Just pointing that out to you, brother. Let's keep on going. Go ahead.
A festival that starts to decline, and rather than us talk about the logistics or things that we could do to make things better.
Logistics. What does that mean? Does that mean that New Orleans is too far away from New York? Or is that what you're trying to say? Because see, New Orleans sits in the breadbasket of Black America. You see, it sits as a junction between all these different places. I mentioned from California to Atlanta to, right there between Texas and Mississippi. So I'm just saying, okay, but let's keep listening.
Technicalities. Where did we go wrong? Was it sponsorships? Was it the economy? Was it the rollback on DEI programs? None of that. The first thing we could think of, an African An African bought it. And no offense to Rich, but if you ever heard Richard Dennis talk, he's not even that. He's not even the African that you're thinking about. He's
He's good at pretending to be a foundational Black American. That's what you're trying to say. Shout out to Orange DNA. And that's what we're saying about all of you all. You fake FBA, you wear our skin, and then when you presented with the opportunity, you go through the process of trying to erase our successes or reroute them to something you find more palatable. That is what my foundational Black American brothers are saying. And the sisters, okay? Keep it in mind, Essence Festival, Essence Magazine was a magazine that was created to uplift Black women, foundational Black American women. I want you to remember that. Let's keep listening.
For the most part, a lot more American than he is. Like, he's not like, you know, like the way this
born in Liberia, he is very much an African man from the continent. But go ahead and keep trying.
described it, you made it sound like Patrice Lumumba. Somebody with that kind of name came and took over your business, just came straight from the continent and took over. That's not what happened. And we're not even, and up until now, for the most part, these are the people that have organized us.
What he's doing is he's showing you these white folks up there who used to organize Essence Festival. Go ahead.
Essence Fest. These
saying y'all would rather have these white American folks doing it as opposed to a Black man from Africa. Well, they did it better. They understand. But I hate to say it like that, but you know, let's keep going.
This is what they look like. I don't think anybody has had any complaints for the most part.
That's not true, but keep going.
I don't think it was divisive when they were in control.
It was always, it's gonna be what it's gonna be, baby. You know, I'm just keep it 100.
I don't think there was any narratives being told, but for some reason,
the narratives were pretty good. That's what it was. It was pretty good narratives. Go ahead.
When anything seems to go wrong, we start to point fingers and look at each other and start to blame ourselves. And
no, we're not blaming ourselves. Black Americans are not blaming ourselves. We are blaming the Africans who are now the executive officers. That's who we're blaming. It would be no different if your favorite soul food restaurant was taken over by a bunch of folks from Ghana, and they start serving fufu and jollof rice, and we would have something to say about it. Okay, I'm just keeping it 100.
I hate to say this, and those of you who know, those Africans who know, guess what? Africans do this for their own festivals too. When it comes to Afrochella, when it comes to Afrofuture, now the current name, people will make all this commentary about what Afrofuture is and what it isn't, rather than celebrating the progress.
But what you're not saying is that Black Americans have taken it over. That's what you're not saying, brother. But go ahead. I'm doing my best. I'm doing my best not to cut him off. I'm trying, because I know you all complain in the comments. Let them talk. Let the people talk. Ain't no people. It's a video. Okay, go on to TikTok and find the videos like I did, then you can listen to it all you want. Okay, and I'm doing my best not to say anything, but I have to comment so people can kind of have some context. But listen, you know,
of such a undertaking of such a great venture in the diaspora, rather than complimenting it, the first thing we do is break it down and criticize a people that are doing more with less. A people that are doing more with less on both sides. And the first thing we can think.
No, y'all have a whole country with resources. We don't have that. You understand what I'm saying? When you say who's doing more with less, you all have a whole continent that you can do more with. If you come over to our little country, to our little communities, and then you take over our little stuff while talking bad about us. Think about it, brother. What are you talking about? You do more with less. Y'all sold us. You understand what I'm saying? You don't think we recognize that? And then you told us we're not African. And then on top of that, you insulted our culture and you called us names like Akata and who knows what else. And when you send your people over here, you tell them not to associate with Black Americans. So you need to understand, you need to have some cultural context in which you start. This is not even. This is all we have. It's like coming into a man's house and taking his last loaf of bread and telling you, hey, it's only right that we split this even. And you got a whole, not a house, you got a whole country you can go back to, man. And that's the thing I don't think you found, you Black Africans understand about foundational Black Americans. We don't have anywhere else to go. So be mindful of that. Be a little bit more demure in your assessment. That's just the thought.
This is the time to be over analytical and critical. Listen, I'm all for being over analytical and critical. I love it when it comes to film, when it comes to art, because I think artistic integrity is important. It is important for us to be to have integrity every.
You just rambling at this point. Let's move on to somebody else. He just out here rambling. He just blah 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 blah. I don't care about all that. You need to.
Anonymous employees, at essence, they accused him of abuse of power, bullying,
he
and
talking
sexual.
about this one, brother, is talking about the new president. Okay, so let's hear what he has to say about the new president. Okay, I'm gonna try to slide past old buddy. He's a little bit long.
Is Richelieu? I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Dennis. So years ago, he came to the United States to go to school, to go to college.
Okay.
And 8 years ago, he took over the Essence empire. I believe Shea Moisture as well. And eventually, he amassed a $400 million empire, beauty empire.
Shea butter, all you folks out there buying shea butter, y'all made him rich. I made this dude, then what's his name? Richelieu Dennis. You made him rich with the shea butter. Okay, just keep that in mind. Let's keep going.
Now, in 2020, some anonymous employees at Essence, they accused him of abuse of power, bullying, and sexual harassment. So now, after that happened, he appointed a woman by the name of Caroline Wanga. She was an immigrant from Kenya, and she was over the Essence Festival, the CEO of the Essence Ventures, Caroline Wanga. So I'm saying this to say, I believe the Essence Festival flopped this year because it seems like Africans from the continent, not all, are coming here and utilizing Black Americans' money, resources, culture, but yet disregarding us.
So here's the thing. All right. I don't necessarily believe in conspiracy theories, but I also do believe that fat meat is greasy. And shout out to Red Sigma. And so the brother's about to go down the rabbit hole and explain, like, are these people plants? I'm not going to go that far and say that, but I will entertain this conversation, and you all can make of it what you would, because he's not the only one saying it. Let's keep listening. Let's keep listening.
Essence was started by Black Americans. I believe it was 1968, I think. And it seems like some of the Africans from the continent are coming over and reaping the benefits and just getting rid of the Black Americans. So I don't know. I mean, with all the racism and bigotry in this country, it seems like people from the continent, they're acting up. But a lot of them have been acting up for years, though. So I don't know. What do you guys think about that? What do you guys think about it? Do you think that's what they're doing? I don't know. Let me know down in the comments, guys. I'll talk to you later today.
Okay.
Y'all, I came across.
So the comment section, I get this a lot. Dennis, know your history. I don't know if you meant to say no, like N-O. I think maybe you meant K-N-O-W, which is how you pronounce, know, like knowledge. But I'm going to take it that I'm going to take it like that's what you meant, even though you clearly you use these big letters, and you said know your history and quit preaching and spreading division. Well, let me say this. Sir, Bakersfield. I'm not spreading division. I am acknowledging, Mr. Supreme 32, thank you so much. I'm acknowledging that Africans and Caribbeans have long since delineated from Black Americans. You specifically tell us that we are not African, and you want to know that if you want to know that you're not Caribbean, go on down to Jamaica and try to speak some of that patois and see if they don't call you all kind of Yankee man. The Babylon man. Come down, Yankee man come down from Babylon. The yard man. They're going to hit you with that. So you already all have delineated from us. So how is it division if we say, okay, we're not like you? And anybody who has listened to me for the past 2, 3 months, 4 or 5 years will know that I have I would say, keen understanding of history. So I do know my history, but what you don't know is that I know. And so I'm going to give you a big no, okay, as far as this comment. But there's nothing wrong with a group of people acknowledging the fact that others have established boundaries. All we're doing, you built the fence, we just building the fence too. And it runs parallel with your fence. Why are you taking a fence that foundation of Black Americans are saying, hey, you know what? I'm not African. Look at me. I'm of African descent, but do I look like a broad nose, thick lips, sub-Saharan African? I do not. And so if I or many of my Black American brothers and sisters would go to Africa, you all would call us names. You would purposely tell us what we are not. So I'm telling you what we're not. We're not going to deal with the disrespect anymore, especially in our country. So you can go on about your business. But let's listen to what this young lady with the big glasses say. Somebody type big glasses in the chat room. Let's see what big glasses has to say. Shout out to my man, Black Sand.
Too many videos yesterday about the Essence Fest supposedly now being too Africanized.
Well,
as an African woman, specifically from Liberia, I wanted to take a few moments to add to this discourse. Okay, so Essence was purchased a couple of years ago by Rich Lou Dennis, who also happens to be a Liberian man. And supposedly now the current CEO is Kenyan.
It's true.
And supposedly this particular Essence Festival, which I actually wanted to attend, but unfortunately because of some personal reasons I couldn't attend.
Much information, but
supposedly there was just too many things that were happening that were geared mostly towards the African culture and took away from the American or African American culture.
Yeah, they had.
I mean,
let me show you what they had. To a certain
extent, I get it that
do you really?
We don't want to lose African American culture within Essence Fest.
We don't want to lose it. You just said you from Liberia. What do you mean we? You mean y'all? Y'all don't want to lose it. Let's go ahead and keep listening to this, but I want to show you all something. This is over on my Facebook page. I want you guys to understand what's really going on. This is my Facebook page, and what you see here is an event that occurred, and it is called the Battle of Jollof and Jambalaya. Okay, and this happened at Xavier University in Louisiana. You know, when you cross that bridge right before you get to the Superdome, Xavier is right there to the right. It's the green, the one with the funny green looking building. That's Xavier University, historically Black university, sends more Black children to medical school than any other one I know. Shout out to Chris the Real. They had a Jollof versus Jambalaya contest in New Orleans, okay, on Thursday, July 3rd. You see what I'm saying? So when you start saying, oh, no, I mean, it wasn't that many of it. They had a whole event. It'd have been, I mean, they could have had something from the Caribbean. That'd have made more sense. Why couldn't you have Mississippi versus Louisiana? You see what I mean? No, you had jollof rice versus jambalaya. the battle of I mean, you understand what I'm saying? And see, the response you get is, as you look at the bottom, it says, why Black America is done with it. You see, this is Black people. Why are we sharing our space with other folks who have purposely told us we're not like them, we're not brothers and sisters, and they don't like you? And I think that's so unfortunate, you know, especially considering how much we as Black Americans of my generation romanticize Africa. A lot of us walking around with little African medallions, red, black, and green, you know, and it's just unfortunate, but it is what it is, baby. Let's keep listening to this little lady.
And I mean, I wasn't there to experience any of it, but I also did see some videos that show that people had a great time, people had fun. So I don't know where all of the negative energy is coming from.
It's coming from the fact that you all had a jollof rice versus jambalaya contest, as if those two are even comparable. Black Americans don't even eat they don't even eat jollof rice. I'm just saying like that. Black folk will barely eat out of your kitchen. You know what I mean? If they don't know you well enough. And the other thing is, you got these CEOs, these high-ranking CEOs who apparently have their own itinerary for this thing. But let's keep listening.
I'm just saying though, like, I don't think we should be fighting amongst ourselves. I think this is a good discussion to have. I don't think any culture should be put down or stomped or beat on, because I think that's
no. You all told us we don't have a culture. You all told us that our culture is ghetto. This is what you all told us. So don't, now that we are rebuffing you and responding, don't now say, oh no, we shouldn't talk about culture, because for decades you all told us we didn't have one. As you sit under the umbrella of our culture and reap the benefits. I just want you to keep that in mind. Notice how these folk are, they bobbing and weaving out here. No. You threw this punch. You threw a series of punches, and now you getting it back. You understand me? Let's keep listening. Oh Lord, I done lost it, the lady. Let's get on back to let's see if we can get her back up here real quick. Hold on a minute. All right, let's go.
Took away from the American or African American culture. I mean, to a certain extent, I get it that, you know, we don't want to lose African American culture within Essence Fest. And I mean, I wasn't there to experience any of it, but I also did see some videos that show that people had a great time, people had fun. So I don't know where all of the negative energy is coming from. But I'm just saying though, like, I don't think we should be fighting amongst ourselves. I think this is a good discussion to have. I don't think any culture should be put down or stomped or beat on, because I think that's what's kind of like happening. And I'm speaking from an African person's perspective. That's what it's starting to feel like. And I mean, there's so much rich history to our two cultures that I think it's nice to be able to give space and to have a really fruitful discussion about this instead of putting one culture down. And I agree, like, we don't want to lose the essence of Essence Fest. We don't want to take over the African American culture.
I think that's what you're trying to do. You just said what you're trying to do. I think that's exactly what you're trying to do. Somebody put that DHS hotline in the chat room. Somebody put 1-800-CALL ICE. I need the phone number. Anyway, keep going.
I get that, but I think it could have been portrayed in a more respectable way, because I've just been seeing a lot of disrespectful comments, and I just don't.
That's because you all have been disrespectful for decades. How do you think we know the term, what akata means? How do you think we even know that?
I don't think it's right, especially considering the fact that we all, being Black people in this country, we face some of the same.
We are not the same. We are not. I think that's what I don't think you understand, baby. We are not the same. You all made that abundantly clear that we are not the same. You call us akatas, which is loose translation to cat without a home. Basically, you said we're a bunch of stray cats. You laugh when we tell you where we're from. You see what I mean? Let's just keep it 100. Shout out to Alonzo Dunn.
Challenges, and for a space so beautiful as the Essence Fest to be
We
going
that
through
we
this
made.
discourse,
We made it
I
like
don't
that.
think it's right. I really hope that some of the bigger creators, because sometimes folks don't want to be listening to us small creators, but I really hope that there is some productive conversations that come up out of this, because what I've been seeing,
That's
nah,
this was
it ain't
this
it.
bed
It
you
ain't it.
made. This what y'all want.
African Americans versus Africans at the Essence Fest.
Now I want you to now here's where my skill set comes in. I want you to hear what he's saying. Okay, he got his cosplay Bulls hat on. Look, I want you to look at him. Look at him. And he trying to pretend like he's a black. Look how he trying to be cool. Yeah, you know, I'm tired. I want you to listen to him. Your costume is not well, sir. I can listen to you and tell you.
Boy, niggas.
He wear the hat and pretend like he's foundational Black American so he can get away with saying the N-word. Let me explain to you all something about the N-word. Black Americans don't just call each other the N-word as a term of endearment. There's some animosity and some heat associated with that. If you just outright call me the N-word, we might have beef. And that's even if you're black. You see what I'm saying? I got people right now like, look, don't call me that. I've had argument with women playing calling me. I don't do that. That's not a word we play with. I know you've heard some rappers and they say it and whatnot. You think it's not a term of infection. It's not a term of endearment in the real Black community. And somewhere around East Texas and Louisiana and Mississippi and Alabama, you might get stomped out calling somebody the N-word, irrespective of your color. I'm just trying to help you youngsters out, because I know it's a lot of multiculturalists in here, and I know shout out to all the multiculturalists, but I don't even like Africans or Caribbeans referring to us as the N-word, period. And so this dude right here is cosplaying a foundational Black American right now with his little Bulls hat on, okay, trying to pretend and change his voice up. But I can tell by the shape of your head that you ain't from here. I can look at your head and I can say this head right here, it's not the type of head that fits in the foundational Black American scheme of heads, okay? I can't wait to be a granddaddy, because I'm gonna be able to say, son, I don't think that little boy, a girl belongs to you. That you might need to get that DNA test. I'm telling you, but let's go ahead and keep listening to this fella right here.
Good, man. Y'all really sitting on this TikTok.
Y'all really sitting on this TikTok.
Basically having a battle with
Basically having a
just
battle
like you.
Okay.
They said an African bought Essence and you mad.
An African bought Essence.
Wouldn't be.
You, sir, you are not. Stop faking. Stop faking. Y'all keep saying he's Caribbean. He's not Caribbean. He is a West African. I'm telling you. Look at his head. Look at the shape of his face. I can tell you. I know my people. I know. Okay. Stop faking, sir. Yep.
Niggas would have bought it yourself.
Niggas would have bought niggas. Y'all black should have bought it. That's what he wanted to say. Niggas should have bought it himself. Look who he's referring to as the N-word. Not the Africans, but the foundational Black America. I just tried to tell you. It's subtle. You want to know why we beefing? You want to know why it's a problem? It's cuz y'all low-key disrespectful. And now it's high-key.
Like that, man. I don't like the word nigga, man. But when niggas be nigga, hate this.
Hate it. Hate us. You ain't us, sir.
But we literally all the same, man.
No, we're not. That sounds like something an African would say. We are not the same. You only say it when it's convenient, sir.
We all have different cultures. Y'all know Africa's a continent too,
So now you talking to us like we stupid. Y'all know that's something Africa. He's revealing himself. Y'all know Africa's a continent too, sir. So shout out to Donna Mean. Look, sir, it's not working. We know you. We know who you are.
Y'all just say Africans. That's kind of disrespectful. Nah, but for real, man, you know how stupid we look.
We
on this white man's internet.
The white man's internet. It's the white man's internet.
African American and African and all that, and it's like,
bro, all that, yeah.
Boy.
That work for the white girls. We know ya.
It seems like we don't never get it because we always gonna find something to fight each other over. It's a music festival, y'all.
No, it's not. It's more than that. It's more than a music festival, homeboy.
Shout out to Ibrahim Torre, Burkina Faso.
Yeah, we know where you're from. We got you. Trying to
Funniest thing about this, not funny in a bad way, is that there's a lot of remarks about Essence and how they need a black, specifically black American woman at the helm again because it's gotten diluted. But Susan Taylor is not black American. Susan Taylor is of Caribbean descent. Her parents are from Trinidad and St. Kitts. And she was able to create a beautiful legacy at Essence magazine that
She did good too. She know how to throw some parties. That's another thing. She knew how to throw some parties, but keep going.
very much centered African American women. And I don't know by name who's over.
And see, here's the thing. It's not all Caribbeans. It's not all Africans. But we know the ones that we know. You all know who you are. The ones that come over here to, talk reckless, talk down, talk bad. It's not all. We've had some great people who come here. Minister Louis Farrakhan's mother was Jamaican, even though he was born in Boston. Marcus Garvey was a Jamaican who came up here from Jamaica. What's the name of the, shout out to Yaya's kids. What's the name of the Black Panther from Trinidad? I forget his name. But there's been lots of really all the way down Black folks from the diaspora who've come to the United States and who have brought enrichment and support. Sidney Poitier. So many. What we talking about is you nocturnal animals that fly and float over here, and you decide that it's a good idea to side with Zaddy or try to take over our stuff. That's what you're the ones we're addressing. Okay? So Ms. Taylor did her job, and she did a great job. That should be an example that you should follow. But let's keep listening.
Over there right now, but I know that Essence Communications was bought by someone who is of African descent.
He is not of African descent. He is an African, okay, from Liberia. He has papers. You understand me? I am of African descent. You are of African descent. That man is an African from Liberia. Okay, there's a big difference. Let's keep going.
I mean, we're all from African descent, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know now. You got to clarify it.
Necessarily African American. And I think there's a new editor-in-chief who is Kenyan, I want to say.
Ms. Manga. We saw her face before, but keep going.
Everybody feels like the Black American aspect of Essence Fest is missing and it's become diluted. And you guys have things like the Jambalaya versus Jollof contest, and then not asking previous local NO vendors to come back for the festival, which is another big part of.
How are you going to have an Essence Festival in New Orleans, which is known for its food and its cuisine and its culture, which is the breadbasket, the epicenter of Black America? How are you going to? Many of our ancestors were brought up through the ports of New Orleans and sold. New Orleans has been a notoriously Black city for centuries. One of the biggest slave rebellions in Louisiana, in America, came through New Orleans. Your food, your culture, your music, your jazz, your blues, all has come out of New Orleans or culminated in New Orleans. And now you're going to tell me the local vendors in New Orleans are not invited to Essence Festival? Are you kidding me? Why do you think people go to? We do not travel thousands of miles to go to New Orleans to eat jollof rice and couscous. We don't do that. I'm just saying. I mean, that in itself is a slap in the face, but let's keep listening to the system.
Why people go so they can support local Black business. And all of that definitely misses the mark, but it's not because there's not a Black, and by Black, I mean African American woman at the helm of Essence, because Susan Taylor wasn't a Black American. She just had the respect and reverence for understanding that the core audience of Essence are people who identify as AA.
She had the respect and reverence to recognize that the core group was African American or foundational Black American or Black American. Shout out to Lord Giatron. Let's keep
And
looking.
unfortunately, it definitely doesn't help that the whole company has been bought by people who are not AA.
It does not.
And they
It does
feel, whether consciously or subconsciously, like their culture should be part of the umbrella of what makes Essence Fest, which brings about a whole different conversation about the different nuances across the diaspora and how Black people subconsciously feel the need to funnel ourselves into one space all the time. And if you don't see your kind of Black represented here, then we've missed the mark, when it could just be, hey, let's make more events for different types of Black people. Like, this is supposed to be.
If you made more events for different kinds of Black people, then you cannot count on Black American people showing up. I mean, we like reggae, but we don't want to listen to it all day. We like Afro beats, but we don't want to listen to it all day. It's not like sitting up listening to some old school soul music. That's something we grew up on that. That's what we were raised on. That's our food. We are soulful people, you see? And a lot of these folks just can't relate to us, you know? And, you know, when we get around each other, it's a different vibe. Just the same way when folk who from different cultures get around each other, it's a different vibe. I'm going to let her finish speaking, and then I'm going to go ahead and get to work.
Historically, an African American event. If you want to do something specific to the African part of Black people's whole lineage worldwide, then you do that separately from this. But you don't take this, co-opt it, turn it into something else, and then neglect to cater to the people who've been here for like 30 years. Right. So it's a whole long conversation that we could definitely get into, but it's definitely not because there's no Black American who's in charge at Essence.
Okay, you keep on thinking that, baby. I think it's all part and parcel.
Y'all want to talk about Essence? Okay, let's get into it because I'm so tired. You hear my voice. I just got back. Baby, knowing that Essence is really for grown people, why does every goddamn thing have to be so late at night? But we'll talk about that later. Okay, where are we going to start? Let's start with the music. I only went to the concert on Sunday night. 10 out of 10.
Okay, the
2
music
thumbs
is
up.
good. Go ahead,
Very
baby.
good product.
You know what she's talking about.
Beauty con.
I'm just telling you.
Do better.
She
Convention
knows-
Center.
Go ahead.
Too loud. Partnerships, brands, and sponsorships. Target, why were you there? Target being there was like the friend you fell out with, but then they roll up to your birthday party. Girl, we don't talk. Why are you here? You're not invited. But I'm sure they paid money, and you have to have money to run Essence Fest because so many of the components are free, not the VIP and all that extra stuff that all the other people go to.
Shout out to
But still,
Alonzo Dunn.
did y'all not hear that we're boycotting Target? But that's okay, Essence. I know. I get it.
She is so into what she's saying and make you want to listen, but she is going heavy with the lip smacking. But we're going to keep listening to her. Go ahead, baby. I ain't going to interrupt you no more.
I get it. I get it.
You did it.
I get it. The people. I'm going to give the people a 5 because half of y'all were 10s. Just wonderful, beautiful, amazing. And then the other half, I work in beauty. So I was working with a brand, okay?
You were.
And we had an installation, and we were, and this is a big brand, a very big brand, an international brand.
Tell us what it is.
Don't walk up to me with your bag open.
You better not.
This is not trick or treat.
It
Do
is
not walk up to me with your bag open.
It is not August.
Don't do it, sis, sir.
Don't do it.
Really,
Don't
no
do it.
sirs really did it. It was really the sisters. And I get it. There's a lot of free things being given away.
Free.
But this is not Snap. This is
It
not.
is.
It's Wick.
Hold
Anyway,
on a
I
minute.
digress. Let me move on. So the people at 5. The
5.
celebs and I don't even talk about the influencers because I don't really know those people. In our area, they went crazy for Drewski. I didn't even know who Drewski was. Like, I know I feel my age right now.
That's
but
okay, baby. That's all right.
overall,
you look good, baby.
everybody that I came across or met or had the opportunity to shake hands with, 10 out of 10 kind.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10 nice. 10 out of 10 gorgeous,
10 out of
beautiful,
10.
sweet,
That's
kind.
what I'm talking about. Go ahead, baby.
The vibe,
Say it.
a hug for my soul. It was everything that I didn't even know I needed.
Ooh,
The concert.
Somebody type a hug for my soul. Somebody type a hug for my soul. That's what Essence Fest is supposed to be about. Keep on talking, baby. Let's see what else she is making the show. Keep on going.
Start earlier. You're dealing with people at least over 30. Now I know there were some younger people, and Friday night, Glorilla was part of the lineup.
Glorilla.
But every night, from what I understand, the concert started late. Last night, Sunday night, we went. First of all, it was amazing. It was amazing. I haven't had that much fun in a long time. But why do we have acts just coming on at 1 a.m.? That's the morning.
You should took
So
that
I don't know,
nap.
Essence, if we're going to have to start this thing at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, if it's going to have to be
you too old to be out there
supper
late.
or a
You took nap.
brunch or a midday concert in the afternoon.
Did you wear
But
heels?
we cannot. Speaking from the
She wore them heels, and she wore them heels with that low mileage. You know, them cute heels that you get out the car, walk to the restaurant, sit down. You wore the wrong heels. You brought your low mileage heel. Did you bring your slippers and put them in your purse? Okay, that was your fault. You know, and you should have took a nap over at the Hilton, all right, before you went out that late. If you know the concert is gonna come on at 2:30, you need to go to sleep by at least 6 in the evening. Wake up by 10 o'clock. All right, start getting ready. Get yourself together. But you need to sleep now. You know what you're doing. You grown. You too grown to have these problems. You're supposed to be teaching these youngsters how to do it. And don't be complaining because the concert, everybody knows that Lauryn Hill is going to be 3 hours late to take the stage. Okay? Don't complain, but you keep on going, baby. Keep on going.
delegation of your audience, the 35s and up and up and upward of that.
Yeah.
You cannot have us
They need a
outside
nap.
like that until 2 or 3
Nap.
o'clock in the morning,
Somebody
because
type
all of us
nap.
have things to do the next
They
day.
can't be out.
Okay.
Your
That
feet
was- that
swell
was-
up. Your feet swell up because all the salt that you've taken in, okay, goes straight down to your feet. Okay. And then you in that hotel bedroom and the mattress is hard. Okay. So you can't get in good like you want to. I know what you're going through, girl. You didn't bring your sugar pills either. And you don't have your little foot massager because you left that back in Detroit or Chicago, wherever you flew in from. I know what you're dealing with, but you can't blame these people. That's your fault. You grown. You know your body. You should have did better, but I'm glad you had a good time, baby. Go ahead.
Disrespectful. You're very unserious with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tell 'em.
But we were
Tell
feeling
'em.
it and we had a good time, baby. I danced my gel polish off. And the last thing I'll say about Essence, just with
That's why
some of the
your
things
feet
I've been
hurt.
reading and seeing,
That's why you be
I
tired.
think that with our influencer environment, with the social media environment, that's a really kind of new phenomenon.
Yeah.
Phenomenon. Back in
not-
the
you
day,
know-
everybody partied together. Of course, there's always going to be VIP and private stuff, but with the onset of influencer culture, and nothing against influencers and content creators. I mean, I'm here
Thank you.
basically creating content. It's an outlet for me.
That's what you're
But
doing.
this feeling that they are such stars and just deserve everything and, you know, can't be with the GP, the general public. Let me tell you, on Friday, they were so disorganized. Me, my colleague, and Miss Quad. Yes, Miss Quad. Miss Quad. We're standing there together talking, trying to figure out why they wouldn't let us in.
I bet y'all was talking. You look like
Because they
you
really
talk.
didn't even know what they were doing. They were just trying to get it together. And that
You
was
can
Friday.
talk. Now,
The
that's
line
one
outside
thing
was wrapped around the building. This is at 9 o'clock.
you can
It
talk.
didn't even open until 10.
Now, I can tell you used to be fine back around 90, 92, 93. And you used to getting in the club. You ain't never waited in no line, okay? But you had to wait in the line. I know what's happening. It's okay. But I'm glad you had a good time, okay, baby? I'm going to let you finish. What?
The convention center food.
Tell us about it.
I paid $45 for lunch on Friday
Ooh.
for a plate with salmon and rice. Now, was it good?
Oh,
Yes,
no.
it was. Yes, it was.
Nah,
It was
for
very, very good.
$45, it
was
wasn't.
very good.
You could have went right down there off Broad and got you some good food right over there on Broad Street. All you had to do is leave, pass up the Superdome, go right up under the bridge, pass up the neutral ground, keep going, make a right when you get to Broad at the courthouse. Okay, and you ease up to the left. It's right before you get to the Zulu Lounge, and off to the left. This is a great. They got you can get you a po' boy sandwich with some crawfish on it for $4.99 and some salty fries. Okay, now y'all know I lived in New Orleans, and so I'm a little hood, so I know all the little hood spots in New Orleans. If you ever really want to go hang out in with me, we not gonna go to the fancy restaurants. We are not. We're gonna go to all the little duck offs. Somebody type duck off in the chat room. If you pay $45 for some salmon and rice, no, baby. Get you a po' boy sandwich at the gas station or the corner store, and you'll be good out here in East Street. Get you one of them daiquiris, one of them hurricanes down there in the quarter, or one of them pull-up daiquiris. It's going down. Let's keep listening.
But $50 for a lunch inside the convention center that's served in a styrofoam. That's what we're doing in here? Okay.
That's too much. You paid.
That's why they had to have Target up in there.
Yeah, they need to pay that. Yeah.
Oh my God. I just love the love of Essence. It's been a long time since I've gone in. It just was everything I needed, y'all. Oh my God. Yeah. I love us. No matter what they try to say about us, no matter how bad they talk about us, no matter if they disparage us, call us every name in the book.
No, hold on. You going?
We know how to love on each other, and we know how
they
to
ain't
have
gonna talk about me. I'm gonna fight.
Time.
I'll fight.
Okay?
You talk about,
I really hope that they'll better organize BeautyCon. They need to have, if they're gonna do a VIP, it needs to really provide value. They need to almost do it like a fast pass situation.
Hey, baby,
Call Walt Disney, because baby, that fast pass works.
You talking a lot.
And there needs to be a different
talking too much. What?
Pay
You still got something to say?
To enter the event. But that's my.
I'm trying to do a show.
I'm sure
now.
I forgot something, but
that's okay.
Until next year.
All right, you did good. Let's thank all our guests for giving us the play-by-play and establishing the context and the background by which we shall commence this start. Okay, and a shout out to everybody who was in here. You understand me? Somebody type duck off. That's gonna be the word of the night, the duck off. If anybody from New Orleans or down in New Orleans, they know what duck off. I'll be at the duck off. You understand me? Doing what I do. You heard me? Be out there in them streets. You dig? Uncle D used to be damn bad, boy. Look here. You know, my first old lady, my first wife was from New Orleans. She was a Ninth Ward hardhead. You dig? And I used to tell her, like, look here, baby, you can't come out here talking reckless to me like that, baby. I'm from LA. I'm from California. I'll do something to you. I'll do you something, you heard? I ain't playing out here like this. I ain't no sucker. Don't be trying to come at me like that, you dig? I ain't playing with you out here. They used to tickle. That's how I got her to go ahead and marry me. But anyway, so Essence Festival, particularly in its golden era, like the 1990s through the early 2000s, you know, it was one of the last great public spaces for Black men and Black women. You could meet and mingle and bond, you know, and the environment it encouraged elegance and maturity and cultural pride. And, you know, it Essence provided a refined setting. It highlighted mature, mutual respect, shared values, you know, for Black men and Black women. In that space, romance wasn't just about sex. You see what I'm saying? It was about admiration. You know, the brothers would come down to New Orleans specifically to see all these beautiful, sophisticated, stylish, fit, slim, thin, shapely women. Okay. Fine. Okay. Slim, fine. All right. From all across the country. You understand me? And women in turn, they came down to connect with, you know, with the brothers, confident, accomplished, emotionally available Black men. You know, whether it was just flirtatious, and you could do some mean flirting down at Essence. Boy, I'm telling you, boy, you could flirt with everybody down there. I'm 24, 25 years old, and she about 37, 38. Hey, how you doing? Hey there, young man. They get to touch you on your chest. You in school? All right, you a student? You here with your little friends? Yes, ma'am, I'm here. Don't call me ma'am. You know what I'm saying? You know, they too old to be out there. Sitting at the bar drinking that Hennessy. I'm like, oh my God. Out there like you old as your mama's baby sister. But anyway, you could do stuff like, man, going to places like Cafe Du Monde and eating beignets, or, you know, slow dancing at Frankly Beverly at the Superdome. it was just an unspoken cultural script that everybody followed. You see what I mean? And you respect yourself, respect each other. And so by contrast today, we got a lot of division. We got a lot of mistrust between Black men and Black women. And that often dominates the conversation, And so, Essence Fest was a counter narrative to the dysfunction. But, it proved that when we control the setting and we curate the energy and show up with good intentions, Black love can flourish. Now, the thing is, and I spoke about this earlier, New Orleans was a perfect backdrop for this. New Orleans is not just a city, it's the beating heart of the Black cultural convergence in America. All right. And what I'm trying to explain to you all is that, like, for generations, it served as a geographical, spiritual, and cultural crossroads where Black folks from every region, north, south, east, west, we could meet there, we could celebrate, we could reconnect, and we can hang out with each other. Located in the Deep South. It's accessible from every corner of the nation, right? Whether you live in New York, you're going to meet some people from Houston. If you're from Chicago, you're going to meet some people from Atlanta. If you're from Los Angeles, you're going to meet people from Miami. The highways, the railroads, all the flights lead there. It's not an accident. And whether you came from Mississippi, California, Detroit, the Carolinas, New Orleans always felt like a common ground. It was a neutral site. It was a sacred space. It was a cultural gathering point that made everybody feel at home. You understand me? But beyond the convenience, New Orleans is a city steeped in Black history, steeped in resistance, steeped in creativity and resilience. From Congo Square to Treme, from the legacy of free people of color to jazz. All the bounce music, it's the one place in America where Black identity has not only survived, but has thrived. You see what I mean? It's a city that breathes art, music, food, spirituality. You see what I'm saying? And so, here we are in the cradle of culture. And, it was just at a point where Black America was just a beautiful thing to experience at that time. And so, the thing about it is, family, to understand why Essence Festival mattered and still matters and should matter, you have to understand why it had to be in New Orleans. It's not just the food, it's not just the fun. Okay, New Orleans in that sort of environment is the cultural glue that holds Black America together. Now, here's the thing we need to understand, all right? We need to understand, I'm not going to just sit up here and give you a blanket. To sit up here and blame the fact that the CEO is an African and the highest ranking officer or the owner is an African, that would be lazy. And I'm not intellectually lazy. I will take you on all sorts of gymnastics, but we will get there. And so what we have to do is we have to really begin to understand what's going on, right? All right. Now, I mentioned the early stages of Essence Fest, and you're here because you want to talk about Essence Fest. Somebody type Essence Fest in the chat room. Okay. So let's look at the cultural unity in Generation X versus the fragmentation today. Now, Gen X was born roughly between 65 and 1980. And we came of age in a very rare window of Black cultural cohesion. We were the bridge between the civil rights generation and the digital age. We inherited wisdom from the old heads, but we had enough youthful swagger to modernize it. We grew up in a time where Black culture was still largely communal and rooted in real world interactions. You see, we had our issues. No doubt. Everybody knows about the 90s. Everybody knows about the 80s. It was crime. It was poverty. It was systematic racism, police brutality, but we still respected each other. Black men and Black women may have disagreed, and you can look at the old talk shows and you will see that, but there was still mutual respect for the connection, for love, for family. You have romantic relationships. They weren't transactional. All right. They were aspirational. There was still value in courtship. Respect was not earned through viral views. It was earned through how you carried yourself. You see what I'm saying? And of course, we came up on the tail end of the Black Power movement and the rise of the conscious era. Our hip hop, our artists, Public Enemy, KRS-One, Lauryn Hill, Mos Def, even the players and the hustlers, you know, had some sort of code. And you know, there was a balance. You know, there was a code. And so Essence Fest in the 1990s and the 2000s reflected that balance. You know, we were building something together. But now, if you want to fast forward to 2025, what do we see? We see cultural fragmentation. We see intergender hostility. We see political tribalism. We see spiritual confusion. Okay, and we see the rise of social media that has accelerated this collapse. We've traded connection for content. We've traded wisdom for likes. We've traded community for clout. You understand me? Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, or now X, they're the new pulpits. And unfortunately, everybody with a microphone and a camera wants to preach, but nobody wants to build. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, instead of protecting our image, we exploit it. Instead of lifting each other up, we mock and expose it. We've gone from black is beautiful to black is clickbait. You dig? And you can't have a festival built on cultural unity when the people it was made for are now divided by algorithm, class, and ideology. Now, again, if we want to restore Essence Fest, then we need to restore the sense of unity and mutual respect that allowed a generation to thrive. Let's just talk. I'm not just going to sit up here and blame it on some Africans, even though they played a part. That's another conversation that's interrelated. Now, I also want to talk about the degeneration of the musical content. You heard what they said, they had Glorilla. I'm not going to sit up and listen to Glorilla. Okay? I'm not, you know, you see? And here's the thing. The artists that we had back in the day, they understood that the stage was sacred. It wasn't just about performing. It was about presenting your people with class, with talent, and with dignity. At the Essence Festival in the 1990s and the 2000s, you saw legends. You saw Frankly Beverly and Mays. You saw Aretha Franklin. I saw Prince. Okay, and my big ass was up like, I was with my wife, my first wife at the time. I'm up there like purple rain, ow. Only want to see you dancing in the purple rain. Check out purple rain. So I'm up in there in the cheap seats dancing. I'm like, oh man, that Prince was something else, man. The man came out there with the purple robe on and some skates. I'm like, no, he didn't. Shout out to Johnny Harris. So, you know, man, it was just a different vibe, man, and they honor the audience. You know, they understood they were performing for grown folks, sophisticated black people. And I remember once I ended up just sitting on the crowd. There was black stars everywhere, movie stars, man. I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. Now look, I'm not just gonna sit here and pretend like it's an old head not liking the young music. This is about a shift in standards. You see, no mature black man wants to sit in a venue and watch some young rapper, be it male or female, use profanity as every third word while gyrating and yelling at the crowd. We too grown for that. That's what Essence Festival was about. We came for music, not a middle school fight on beat. You understand what I'm saying? Essence Festival wasn't made for TikTok antics. Okay, it was made for people who remember what it means to have pride and how to show up in public and how you represent yourself, your family, your city, and your people. You understand? And because it's black music at its best was meant to heal us. It was meant to inspire us. It's a music that connects generations. I can put some Al Green on right now, and it doesn't matter what age the person is. They're going to feel it in their soul. You understand me? So I just want y'all to keep that in mind. The other thing is, and this is the elephant in the room, shout out to all my people out there, baby. Look, I want you to understand something. One of the unspoken tensions reshaping the landscape, shout out to D-Med, reshaping the landscape of Black culture and events like Essence Festival, okay, is the rapid rise of interracial dating, particularly amongst Black men. You understand me? Okay, let's keep it 100. Let's keep it 100. Okay, love who you love. I'm just saying. And I'm happy you got somebody you love. I'm just saying. But while people are free to love who they choose, we can't ignore the cultural consequences that this trend has had on what was a formerly unified group of people, at least as far as social spaces. See, back in the 1990s and the 2000s, Essence Festival was a celebration of Black love. It was romantic, it was familial, it was communal. It wasn't marketed as such, but it was implicitly understood. See, Black men and Black women were coming together to reconnect, to flirt, to admire each other, to bond over shared values and language and music and history. You know how much relief Black people who are able to come down to New Orleans and just speak freely and speak Black vernacular language to each other without feeling judged. Because no matter how bad you think your English is, it's always going to be a dude there from South Carolina. And I'll tell you one damn thing. You talk to somebody from South Carolina, they sound like they're country as a brown egg. You see what I'm saying? You see what I mean? So the idea that when you look across the room at Essence Fest, you would see people who look like you, who dance like you, who understood you without explanation. But in 2025, the dynamic is shifted drastically. Statistically, Black men, especially the younger ones, and I'm talking about the brothers under 30, they're dating and marrying outside the race at the highest rates in recorded history. And whether that's with white women or white Latinas or white Asians or others, the result is noticeable. It's a noticeable cultural disconnect. And when they show up at a Black-centered event like Essence Fest, people are gonna look. You understand me? And so, just so I can lay it out here for you, okay? According to the Pew Research Center, nearly 1 in 5 Black newlyweds, that's about 18% actually, now marry outside the race. When you break it down, it's about 1 in 4 Black men, 24%. So you got 1 in 4 Black men that marry non-Black women. And you compare that to the 1990s, when that figure was closer to 8%. And that's a threefold increase, you see, in just one generation. By contrast, Black women, they still, for the most part, they have lower rates at about 12%. But even in the 1990s, it's nearly double. So what does that mean? You at the ground zero at Essence Festival in 2025, and all the Black people showed up. You see? It means when you walk around to any venue, there's a high likelihood that 1 in 4 Black men is going to be standing there with a white woman. You know what I'm saying? Or standing there with a woman who doesn't necessarily reflect your culture or your history or your lineage. And increasingly, that's the same. The same is starting to be true for Black women. What used to be a celebration of Black love and cultural continuity now feels like a fragmented social experiment. Let's not pretend this doesn't change the atmosphere. Let's keep it 100. Let's not act like it's just progress. You know, when a group of Black men arrive at a cultural event accompanied by some non-Black women, it's not just a personal choice. It's a shift in the entire social dynamic. Are y'all with me? I need y'all to understand where I'm at. It adds awkwardness. It creates emotional static. It raises unspoken but unavoidable questions. Who is this event really for? Are we still celebrating Black culture? Are we just consuming it? Are we building a community? Are we broadcasting individual choices at the expense of the community? And the impact is especially heavy for Black women. many of whom attend Essence Fest in hopes of being seen and respected and desired and maybe picking up a man, right? At least getting some action. Instead, now they often experience what they feel to be cultural betrayal. Imagine being a 38-year-old foundational Black American woman. You're successful, you're beautiful, you're deeply rooted in your people, okay? Only to show up and the men that you came to see have chosen to bring someone else into this sacred space. It doesn't feel like a celebration, it feels like erasure. You see? And, there's always been a couple of brothers with some white women and women of other colors, but never 1 in 4. You understand me? You see? And even for Black men who still value culturally aligned relationships, the event loses clarity. Is this a Black celebration or is it just a neutral entertainment venue? And I'm not trying to hate, okay? And this is not about exclusion. This is about cultural survival, because Essence Festival wasn't built to be a melting pot. It was built to be a safe haven, a spiritual, romantic, communal oasis for Black Americans who needed a place to reconnect with each other and with themselves. You see? And so the decline of Black love in public spaces has also contributed to these events. And it's not just Essence Fest, it's comedy shows, it's all sorts of other stuff, and that's what you need to understand. So, you can't have a reunion when the family is divided, you see? And so just keep that in mind. And it's not something I'm just giving you the play-by-play, baby. I'm not telling you, I'm just giving you the play-by-play. We can't just sit up here and be intellectually lazy and blame the fact that the new owner is not culturally tied to our particular flavor of Blackness. We can't do that. That's intellect. It'd be dishonest. Because for years, Essence and many of these other programs and whatnot were owned by white folk, and it is what it is. So we have to look at the cultural change. Now here's something else. Now I know what I do to you. I know. Okay. Here's something else. Over the past 3 decades, Black family reunions, this is gonna start here. These sacred gatherings, they were once once, part of our yearly event to go home to Alabama, Mississippi. Well, did you know they've collapsed by nearly 47% since 1997? These weren't just cookouts, they were ceremonies of identity. Kids hearing grandma's migration stories, uncles laying down life and lessons to nephews and cousins, learning Black pride, Black identity through tales of resilience. That generational exchange was the lifeblood of our culture. But today, with grandmothers working longer, families scattered, costs rising, the digital ease of replacing physical gatherings, that essential ritual is no longer, it's just basically evaporated. Here's another one, and you guys have heard me say this before. Big Mama is dead. And what I'm saying is that matriarchal model is gone. And here's the thing. That reverent matriarch, the big mama, that grandma, that mima, it's ended. See, many of us in my generation were raised by grandmothers who commanded respect, and many Black men today no longer experience that kind of influence. You see? And it's just true. But what it does is it shifts, it shows a collapse of not just an emotional influence, but a structured cultural authority. When the matriarchs that once was the glue of the Black homes faded from influence, the cultural continuity frayed. You see? Even for those who remain at Essence Festival, it's not the same. See, what connects the drop, or let me say it like this. The drop in the reunions, the falling off of things like Essence Fest, it reflects a seismic cultural erosion with no reunions, no grandmothers, no communal authority, right? With no matriarchal bedrock, men disengage emotionally, not necessarily rooted in cultural guidance, okay? Without even the social gatherings and the spaces, that we used to have, things and events like Essence Fest are going to lose their cultural framework. You understand what I'm saying? You also got to consider the political stuff too. Look at the rise of Black men who voted their own interest and decided to either not vote or vote for the Republican Party. It was almost unheard of back in the 1990s to even mention that you would vote for a Republican. But now, not only are Black men doing it, but it's also Black women. You understand what I'm saying? So just take that and understand that's also an element that plays in. Now, here's another thing. Ladies, I don't want you to be angry with me, but I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to give you some facts, okay? In the 1990s, Black women were drop dead gorgeous. They were just beautiful. You see what I'm saying? And one of the most striking changes over the past 3 decades has been the visible and cultural transformation of Black women, especially when comparing them to the women of my age. You see what I'm saying? You fellas, I want you to look at some of your aunties, and I want you to look at some of your older sisters, and look at how fine they were back in the 1990s. They were really doing it. You see what I'm saying? They were beautiful. They were gorgeous. You see? And not only were they naturally beautiful, but they had cultural pride, and it was grounded in some kind of values. You see? Now, when you would attend Essence Festival back then, you would run across 1998, 1999. Man. Them fine corn-fed, gym tone, no surgical body having women. You see women in sundresses and natural hairstyles. They had a little relaxed hair, They had the little braids and the bobs, not lace fronts glued and glue-on eyebrows. You see? The makeup was applied to enhance, not reconstruct them. And so when you fast forward to 2025, you got BBLs, you got all this heavy cosmetic makeup and surgery, you got these excess eyelashes that look like, look like fly wings hanging off. You got the over-sexualized fashion in public spaces. And you have what is a less balanced elegance. Keeping in mind, as I said earlier, Essence Festival was about elegance and class, okay? Now, ladies, when I look at the statistics and I look at the demographics compared then to now, right? 55.9% of Black women aged 20 and older, back then they were, they were slender. You see what I'm saying? But now you have an obesity rate, which is, my gosh, it's in the 80s. You see what I'm saying? So at ground zero of Essence Festival, where Black culture and music and identity converge, these obesity statistics among Black women profoundly shape the experience and expectations of Black men. Okay, ladies, let's just keep it 100. All right, some of y'all should have tied them beads around your belly about 6 months before you showed up. Okay, I want you to understand the Essence Festival was traditionally been a celebration of Black excellence and beauty. And it was a space where men and women connected socially and romantically and culturally. But when over 80% of Black women are now categorized as overweight or obese, let's just be honest, many Black men, especially those who are like other men who are attracted to beautiful women, right? They find themselves quietly opting out of romantic engagement at events like that. And that's just the cold, hard truth, okay? And for some, it's not just about aesthetics, but healthy compatibility. He's fit and in shape, right? That means that your lifestyle might not align with his, right? He might be looking for a long-term partnership, right? And so what you get is this silent disengagement, and that contributes to the growing gender divide that we're dealing with. You see brothers enjoying the music, taking photos and networking, but noticeably keeping their distance when it comes to courting. Many Black men feel that they're expected to remain fit and ambitious and upwardly mobile while being shamed for voicing concerns about the dating prospects who don't mirror those standards of physical fitness or health. You understand me? And this high obesity rate compounded by the normalization of those conditions and the cultural gaslighting around preference and standards, that's gonna make brothers just say, you know what, hell with it. And they retreat. Men are not gonna fight every battle. And so for these men's Essence Festival, where we used to go look at some of the finest women in America, right? It no longer feels like a match made in heaven. It feels like a reminder of the social disconnect, not some kind of empowerment slogan. That's what it feels like. And so in essence, has become less about family, less about Black love, and more about fragmented tribes sharing the space, but not the same vision for the future. You understand me? So, the other thing we have to also consider, and I want to make sure I'm not boring y'all. Are y'all with me? Are you guys with me? Let me know if you're with me. We're going to keep this going. I'm going to try to give me some more water in a minute. My jelly jar has run out of water. But the other thing, the economic issues that folks are dealing with right now. So it's 2025, okay? And I'm not saying we were rich back in the 1990s, but you could get, I remember I was in law school and gas was 50 cents a gallon. You understand me? Gas was 50 cents a gallon. You get a loaf of bread for 99 cents. You see? So things weren't as difficult. Okay. Now, in 2025, Essence Festival's noticeable decline in attendance, it can't just be attributed to Africans being in charge. Okay. That's just, again, as I said, that's lazy. You see? Because in the mid 1990s, a typical Essence Festival attendee was a professional Black woman in her 20s and 30s. You see? And they're going to come anyway, no matter who's in charge. You understand me? But now, if you want to fast forward to 2025, there's differences. Women don't have the stability that they used to have. Okay? Many of them don't have a boyfriend, much less a husband. Okay? The other thing is you don't have those older women like her mother or her grandmother who made weekend getaways to wherever possible. She didn't really have the help that she needs. You understand? So now over 70% of Black women have children born to single households, and they're primarily led by women. And so you got women trying to navigate life and motherhood. They don't have that second income. And now we're dealing with the fact that you've had these mass layoffs of the federal workforce. And who's the primary employer of Black women? Who is the primary employer of Black women? It's the federal government. It's the government in general. We talk about school teachers, military, post office, etc., clerical work. With the dismantling of the DEI products, you got a shrinking public sector job and the volatility of healthcare and education and service industries. Where Black women have historically worked, just left thousands of them unemployed and underemployed. Look at all the people selling their houses in DC. And so now when Essence Festival rolls around, the cost of a flight, hotel, childcare, food, even the tickets become insurmountable. You see how that lady was talking about? I had to pay $45 for some salmon and some rice. You understand me? And that's a lot of money, especially for that. I wouldn't pay for it, tell the truth, but whatever. You see? The other thing is, back in the day, they had aunties, they had grandmas, they had people who were willing to take their kids over the weekend. They had jobs with paid vacations. Most people these days work multiple jobs just to get by. You know, you got that job at Starbucks, working down at Amazon. You're doing shifts here, shifts there. But see, in the decades past, Black families relied heavily on the grandmothers and the aunties and the cousins to step in and help child rearing. You could drop your kids off for a weekend or a week and sometimes a whole summer. And that intergenerational trust created spaces for mothers to date, attend festivals, build businesses, or just breathe. But now, hell, the grandmother is either working herself or she's not doing it. You know, it's just simply not available. In many cases, grandma's burnt out, she's broke, and she burdened herself. So, this is a situation that we're dealing with, And so a lot of Black women feel unsupported. They feeling left out. They feel isolated, And you got events like Essence Festival. They don't feel like empowerment. They feel like reminders of what she's missing. And when she sees older women traveling with their spouses and the younger women showing off their career success or friend groups and laughing together, the isolated Black woman may feel more alienated and inspired. She don't want to go to Essence Festival. You understand? So this is everything that's going on. I want y'all to think about this. I'm giving you what you asked for. Now, the other thing is, and I'm gonna just go ahead and hit this right on the head, is that you got to break down between Black male and Black female relationships. I mean, you got a disengagement, you have disillusionment, and the decline of the Black family unit. And one of the deepest crises in Black America today isn't economic or political. It's a breakdown of trust and unity and cooperation between Black men and Black women. And it's not an accident. It's a result of generations of social engineering and economic sabotage and media-fueled gender war, much of it aimed directly at Black men, okay? We live in an era where almost half the Black men are unmarried and childless, and over 70% of Black children are raised by single mothers. And these numbers don't just reflect personal choices. They are the evidence of a deliberate dismantling of the Black family structure and an assault on Black male leadership. You see, and this gender war wasn't started by Black men, okay? But we've been the easiest targets. I want y'all to look at and I'm gonna talk to y'all. I want you to hear me, ladies. I know we got a lot of ladies in here listening because we talk about Essence Fest. Fellas, I want you to pay attention, okay? Black men have been the easiest targets. Look at social media. Black men are slandered daily. They call us dusty. They call us weak. They call us incapable. They call us replaceable. You got one notorious podcaster that refers to Black men as bullet bags, okay, in reference to white police officers or police officers in general unaliving us. You see, you even have prominent news paper articles at some point in the recent past, they refer to Black men as the white men of the Black community. I want you to think about that. And these are not fringe voices. These are mainstream folk, okay, at least within certain online spaces. And they've shaped how an entire generation of Black women who oftentimes were raised without even having the counterbalance of a Black father, this is how they view Black men. Now ask yourself, if you're a Black man, ladies, I want you to ask yourself, if you're a Black man, and this is your perception, we're not going to the cookouts. We're not seeing each other on a regular basis. We're scattered. So your perception of how Black women feel about you is oftentimes shaped by social media. And so you have to ask yourself, what self-respecting man much less black man, will want to seek out the group of women who he feels, and not all of them, it's not even the majority of them, but seeks would want to be around women who he perceives harbors these sentiments about him. You see? Think about that. Okay? Think about that. Dusty, bullet bags. Why would black men, many of whom are survivors of poverty and systematic racism, incarceration and miseducation, and the state of violence, voluntarily tie their futures to somebody who feels like that about them? You understand me? This is how these brothers feeling. And I know, because I've talked to thousands of them right here on this broadcast. No man wants to be vilified. That's a man of any race. No man wants to be disrespected or treated like a second or third class citizen or a pariah. Not in their own community. They'll go build elsewhere. They won't build at all. They want to protect their peace. I want all the ladies in the chat room. Listen to me. Listen to me. I'm speaking to you because I love you. Listen to me. Men want to protect their peace. And they will align with a woman who will protect their peace. They want women who admire, respect, and cooperate, not accuse or try to emasculate them. It is biological, it is psychological, and it is a cultural imperative. A man will not and should not form bonds with a woman who disrespects his essence and denies his value or seeks to control him through shame or guilt. It's just, it is what it is. Now imagine being a young man in 2025. I'm talking about me in 1998, 2024, at 24 years old. Imagine being a young man at 24 years old at Southern University, where I was. And you strolling through social media, and all you see is black women talking about how much they don't need you. How their soft life that they're living means abandoning you. How their degrees make them better than you. How they rather divest from you and date non-black men. Ask yourself, what's the incentive? What's the incentive? What incentive does a man have to go down and hang out with you at Essence Festival? Is this how you feel about it? He doesn't really have one. And at 24, I didn't know much, but I knew what I wasn't. I wasn't going down there for that. And then as far as the older brothers, I mean, you got to understand, ladies, you got black men who spent 60 years being told they don't earn enough. They don't lead well enough. They don't communicate well enough. They don't parent at all. Right? And yet after all of this, you expect these brothers to come down and hang out with you and party and buy you $45 plates of salmon and rice at Essence Fest? No, they're not going to do it. I mean, it just is what it is. And see, this is, you can't build a future when someone who sees you, when someone sees you as an oppressor. And as long as the brothers think that black women see them as with all these negative stereotypes, you know, it's going to be what it is. Now, the truth is you got a lot of black women under the influence of this radical feminism, and that's just the bad theology. Okay. We're not going to let the preachers off the hook. You see? And you got a whole lot of folks with this online, basically they're like online trauma cults. You see, they now see black men as a source of all their pain, not as their partners in healing or building a nation, but just as the source of the pain. And until that changes, you're not going to have self-respecting black men or you shouldn't have them volunteer for this psychological abuse. We want love too. Don't I look like I need love? I like love too. I want peace too. I want unity too. But not at the cost of my dignity. I'm a dignified man. And so you got a lot of black men and not showing up to these events, they're choosing self-respect. You see? You understand? You got black men who are stepping back. They've disengaged. They've stopped showing up to be insulted. And some have sought these interracial relationships. And many are they've sought solitude. But it wasn't out of cowardice, it was out of self-preservation. You understand me? I want you to think about that. Think about that. Now, the other thing is, and you guys still with me, let me know. If you're learning something, let me know. Now, what we're witnessing right now with the evolution, or this decline, Essence Festival, it's not an isolated event. It's not just about low attendance, unrecognizable headliners, or poorly curated panels, or poor spacing when it comes to this artist or that artist. Essence is a cultural barometer. It is a cultural canary in a coal mine. Okay. It's a warning of a larger storm coming, a deep identity crisis within foundational Black American culture. Once the crown jewel of Black cultural's affirmations, Essence Fest was where Black elegance and entrepreneurship and music and politics and romance converged. It was a living archive of our victories and our struggles and our dreams, but now it's just become disjointed and commercialized. You understand? And it's not just about who's on stage. It's about who we are as a people. Did you hear what I said? Disjointed and commercialized. I'm going to say this, and I don't want to get too far off track, but we sold our souls in the 1980s and 90s, and we sold crack and all that dope to our people, and we've never been right since. We sold our soul. As a soulful people, that was our greatest commodity. You understand? And we sold it. See, the real crisis that we have in the spiritual and cultural, see, we're at a cultural emergency, not just because the ticket sales are down or certain artists are up, but because we've stopped seeing ourselves as one people. The story of FBA, the story of foundational Black American, is being edited in real time. And unless we reclaim it, unless we revive it, unless we reassert, our cultural institutions are going to become museums for people that once were. You understand me? Now, let me provide some help here. If we wanted to revive, you want Black men to show up, man, it's real easy. Get some of these manosphere cats. They can fill up a room with 3,000 or 4,000 Black men. You can have the forums filled up. You get the brothers coming, they're gonna hang out, they'll see the women, it'll work out, but you got to make steps toward it. Okay. Now the other thing is, I want to kind of address this because this is kind of where we started off. If Essence Fest wants to be relevant in 2025 and beyond, okay, it's gonna have to shed this rigid alignment to only liberal, corporate, feminist frameworks. Okay, it's gonna have to begin to reflect the full ideological spectrum of Black America, especially Black men. You understand me? Black men have evolved and Black women are right behind them. You see? A lot of Black men they're traveling, something Black men never really did before. They're practicing political autonomy, economic independence, and they have social critiques of modern Western dating. You see it on the internet all the time. And, it's been a quiet but steady shift of many Black men towards conservatism and libertarianism and political centricism. And it's a signal that the culture is rebalancing itself after decades of a monolithic liberal message. And why not? Why not have forums featuring both left and right, black men and black women, and thinkers, not the ones that just come out of academia. It's many of you listening to this broadcast right now who have wonderful ideas that you could share and enlightenment. You see? Why not have roundtables on relationships where both men and women can bring their perspective without being shamed and made to feel guilty about their true experiences? Why not create platforms where real pan-black discourse is welcome instead of silenced? Because see, you hear it now. We've heard it. You understand me? People are talking.
She told me we need
Listen.
to stop complaining, and we need to add to the festival.
Tell them, baby.
African American culture need to be added into the festival. The diaspora, you know that.
Tell them, baby.
African diaspora festival. We need to stop complaining and join with them. Join with you? What?
Somebody type what in the chat room? I mean, I'm just saying, look, there's nothing wrong with incorporating African and Caribbean voices into Essence Festival or any of our festivals. There's nothing wrong with that. The fact is, it's long overdue, okay? But it's got to be done respectfully and without displacing FBA culture. You understand me? And if you're going to include artists, bring the best. Don't have some stupid jollof rice versus jambalaya rice contest. Bring Burna Boy to New Orleans. You understand me? Bring Wiz Kids, bring Tim's, bring Angelique Kidjo. Don't shoehorn in some niche Afrobeat performer as a headliner at a festival originally meant to showcase some of the biggest, brightest stars in soul and blues and gospel and hip hop and R&B. Spend the money. You understand me? Spend the money. Same thing goes for the Caribbean culture. If you're going to introduce black people to Caribbean culture, okay, we get it. Bob Marley was great, but that was 50 years ago. Go ahead and bring Vibes Cartel, bring Buju Banton, bring Shinsia, bring these people, not some obscure name chosen because it's a DEI quota or some business connection. No, we don't want to hear that. Bring the best. That's what Essence Festival is about. Inclusion can be a beautiful thing when it's additive, not subtractive. African Caribbean cultures, that can enrich the Essence Fest, but they should not be allowed to overshadow the central story of foundational Black American culture, which birthed the very festival they're joining. It's not about exclusion, it's about preserving culturally authenticity while inviting collaboration. Now, one of the most alarming transformations at Essence is who runs it. And we talked about that. And I'm not talking about the fact that they are African, one from Liberia and the other from Kenya. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about these corporate folk. Shout out to Cody Marshall. They have corporate backgrounds. They have DEI credentials. Now they oversee the cultural direction of the event. These individuals were trained in corporate America, not in grassroots Black cultural institutions. They may check the diversity box, but the lack of lived experience and lineage and spiritual connection to foundational Black American history that gives Essence its soul, it's not there, and it shows. Their programming choices, sterile, political, disconnected. The idea that they booked Target and allowed Target to be one of the major brands shows that they ignore foundational Black American issues and the issues that we're facing. They pick safe choices, inclusive and friendly to corporations, not the raw and the real. They turned a cultural celebration into a brand management exercise, and the results are uninspiring. Let me tell you what my people used to do in the middle of the night after they came out of the fields. What my people used to do is they would get a bonfire, they would get a fire together, and they would go off in the woods near the plantation, and they would scream and they would yell and they would hoot and they would holler. That's what they would do, because they had to get that out of them. Being oppressed and degraded all day and working all day. Essence Festival is like that. It's a place where we could get together as a people and just open up our souls and embrace each other and sing and dance and play our music out, isolated away from this world that we live in. But what you have these folk doing, these insensitive folk who are not of the culture, who are black, but they are African and they're not of the culture, is cultural gentrification. The spirit of Essence was built by the Black Americans whose ancestors lived through slavery, Jim Crow, civil rights, and a cultural renaissance. You can't outsource that soul to a DEI hire who learned about our struggle through textbooks. If Essence wants to be Essence again, they need to return the keys to the people who created it. And that's foundational Black America. Now, let's go ahead and talk about these diaspora tensions and the backlash. See, because we went from having open arms to closed ranks. And this is why foundational Black Americans are drawing the lines. For decades, FBA's extended our hand in solidarity to Africans and Caribbean brothers and sisters when they arrive here to the United States. We welcome you into our neighborhoods and our churches and our cultural spaces and even our political movements. See, we assumed a shared bond built on melanin and colonization, but now the exclusion of Pan-African unity is collapsing under the weight of disrespect and cultural theft and elitism, and FBA pushback is here, and it's unapologetic and it's overdue. Do you know this? Do you know when the Italians first came to New York or New Jersey, the other Italians who had been there treated them like trash? They excluded them. In fact, depending on what part of Italy you were from, you weren't allowed to associate with the other Italians. They had different social clubs depending on what region of the country you were from. This is how Italians treated other Italians. Unlike Black Americans, we embrace Black folk from other countries. But you all didn't reciprocate. So, I'm gonna make this abundantly clear. There's a diaspora war happening, and the front lines are no longer hidden. See, Black Americans, descendants of slaves, built the very soil immigrants now benefit from. We bled, we marched, we fought, we sued, we died to open the doors that allowed Africans and Caribbeans to come to America in large numbers, especially after the 1965 Immigration and Nationality Act. Yet what we got in return wasn't consistent gratitude. Instead, what many FBAs received was being called lazy by West Africans, being told we had no culture by first-generation Caribbean Americans, watching African artists blow up on the backs of Black American musical infrastructure without once thanking the originators. Seeing non-foundational Black Americans dismiss Jim Crow and slavery, say, oh, that happened 1,000 years ago, and civil rights movements, and your struggle is not ours. Being mocked for our names and our accents and our family structures, and being told we don't know who we are, where we came from. And this might not apply to all Africans and Caribbeans, but it has happened loudly and often enough that the resentment among foundational Black Americans, it is not random, it is cumulative. You told us we weren't African, and now we agree. For decades, African told us we weren't really African. Caribbeans told us we weren't island enough. And guess what? We finally agree. Let the church say amen. But see, now the line has been drawn, and FBAs are reclaiming our distinct identity, our food, our music, our style, our freedom struggle, our innovation, and we're not letting it be co-opted anymore. We're especially not going to let it be replaced by imported culture that doesn't share our history, doesn't respect our sacrifices, and doesn't even try to integrate respectfully. It's not just about accents or flags. It's about the dilution and disrespect of our people who've spent centuries surviving in this country that wanted them dead or enslaved. And now, as Africans and Caribbeans move into positions of visibility and power and influence in the United States, many of them attempt to culturally posture as the face of Blackness while casting aside the FBA experience. The same experience that made the platform possible in the first place. Y'all out there faking us. Essence Fest and the Diaspora War, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. We're calling you out loudly. These people have no cultural connection to Juneteenth, the Civil Rights Movement, or the Black Church. You're not from our legacy. We're calling you out. No more silent tolerance. No more turn the other cheek. No more standing by as our cultural institutions get colonized under the guise of Black unity. You don't want to be divisive. Here's what Africans and Caribbeans living in America need to understand. You're a guest in our house. We can celebrate each other's culture. We can do that. But when you walk into our house and tell us we have no furniture and no flavor and no history, you will get chin checked. Shout out to Jay Willie. That's what's happening now. And this backlash is not hate, it is correction. And we are correcting the narrative that says Afrobeats is the dominant Black sound when it's built on FBA jazz, funk, and hip hop. We are correcting the idea that African immigrants succeed more because they work harder when they benefit from the infrastructure our struggle created. We are correcting the disrespect of calling us akata and lazy or ghetto while you wear our hairstyles, borrow our slang, and live in our neighborhoods. You don't get to degrade us, the host, while enjoying the privileges of our house. Foundational Black Americans are not the ones facing deportation right now. We're not worried about ICE. We're not struggling with immigration papers or overstaying visas. We are Americans. We are the original labor force. Hell, we were here before the first slaves got here. We were here before the first white European got here. We've been here. We're freedom fighters. We're culture creators. We are the heartbeat of America. Without foundational Black American cultural advocacy and political clout, white supremacy would eat you alive. You survive here because our ancestors fought to make this place habitable for Black-skinned people and brown-skinned people and yellow-skinned people and all the rest. So when FBA say, know your place, we don't mean it in a disrespectful way. We mean it historically, politically, and truthfully. You must respect the people who sacrificed, paved your way. And until that happens, don't expect automatic inclusion anymore. And look here, this is not bigotry, it's boundaries. Let me say that again. This is not bigotry, it's boundaries. This is not xenophobia, it's boundaries. And every culture has the right to draw boundaries. The Irish did it, the Italians did it, the Jewish Americans do it. So why not us? Foundational Black Americans have the right to say, this is who we are, this is where we come from, and this is how we protect our legacy. We are not obligated to share our culture, our spaces with you all, especially as you refuse to respect us and it. And so from now on, your cultural access must come with cultural accountability. Now, to our African and Caribbean brothers and sisters, if you truly want unity, then show us. Not with words, not with shaming language. Come correct. Number one, don't show up entitled. Show up respectfully. Don't tell us who we are. Ask us who we are. Don't compete with us and go run and tell white zaddy. Collaborate with us. And most of all, above all, contribute as opposed to taking away. Because if all you do is extract from FBA culture without pouring anything in, you're not a tether, you're a parasite. And parasites will be rejected every time. This is America. This is our America. See, there comes a point in every people's history where they stop begging to be included and start building walls to protect theirs. And that's exactly what's happening right now in foundational Black American communities. After decades of welcoming others into our spaces, only to be disrespected or dismissed and deliberately overwritten, Black Americans are now saying, enough, this is ours. You don't get to define it, rewrite it, or exploit it. And that goes for the Africans, the Caribbeans, the Latinos, the Asians, the Arabs, and everybody else. We're drawing a hard, non-negotiable boundary. We're delineating ourselves not just ethnically, but culturally, politically, and spiritually. And most importantly, we're reclaiming our sovereignty. Delineation was not our first choice. We tried to embrace you all. We wanted to be Africans, but you said we weren't. And so now delineation is our only option. So let the record show we didn't start this. Africans told us we weren't real Africans. Caribbeans said we weren't of their people. We were Yankees. Immigrants mocked our accents and our family names and our fashion and our survival strategies in the face of white terror. We developed a culture that kept us alive for centuries, and you have the nerve to tell us it doesn't exist. We are constantly othered by people who look like us. Same people who didn't understand our generational trauma and triumph, which is baked in our bones. So, what do? We took the disrespect, we tucked it in our back pockets, and we kept building. We let you in our HBCUs, we let you take our scholarships from these Ivy League universities. We allowed you to live in our neighborhoods and attend our churches. We showed you our music and our movements. We fought for the rights that you benefit from. We created the entire culture that made the world fall in love with Blackness. Only to be told by some of you that we had no culture at all. But now the tide has turned. You told us we weren't you, and we listened. And now we're saying the same thing. You are not us. And we saying it loud and we saying it proud. You are not us. And who are we? We're foundational Black Americans, the direct descendants of those who could trace their ancestry back centuries, even before the first slave was brought here in 1619 in Jamestown. But we are also the enslaved people who are emancipated and endured a second set of oppressive laws, Jim Crow, racial terrorism. We're the children who fought in the American Revolution and the Civil War. In fact, we fought in every war since for this country, a country that hates us. We built Wall Street. We were sold on Wall Street. We were bombed at Tulsa, but we still created jazz and blues and hip hop and soul and rock and roll and gospel and funk. We invented machines and wrote constitutions and pioneered the civil rights that the whole world follows right now. We survived the crack era, mass incarceration, COINTELPRO, welfare. We marched on Selma. We got sprayed at Birmingham. We stood toe-to-toe with state violence and came back stronger. See, our lineage isn't just American, it's foundational. See, without us, there is no America. So don't confuse us with a minority group. Don't confuse us with a POC. We are not colored. We are not people of color. We Black. In fact, we foundational Black American. We're not just another flavor in the melting pot. We are the fire under the damn stove. And because we've seen it. We've seen it happen before. People come and take our things. Hip hop was ours. Now it's a global commodity. And you got non-foundational Black Americans leading in there. Black Americans struggle for justice. It birthed the whole modern diversity movement. But now you got the so-called DEIs, hires, they exclude us. Our festivals, our fashion, and our slang get globalized while the creators remain uncredited and underpaid. And now when we ask for respect, we're called divisive. You call us divisive. We're not being divisive. We're drawing our boundaries and our borders. Just like other ethnic groups protecting their language and cuisine and customs, we're protecting ours. It's not hate, it's self-respect. Delineation is not xenophobia. We don't hate you. Hell, we don't know enough about you to hate you. Y'all just got here. But we do know who you are. And we're not saying that Africans and Caribbeans don't matter. That's not what we're saying. We're just saying we're not interchangeable. You have your legacy and we have ours. And we're going to protect ours at all costs. Just like Haitians draw the line between Haitians and Jamaicans and vice versa. Just like Nigerians draw the line between Yoruba and Igbo. We're drawing the line between y'all and us. That's not hate. That's heritage preservation. And if you want in, know what you're entering. If you want to work with us and love us, or even live among us, then know what you're joining. You're not just entering Black America. You're stepping into a civilization within a civilization. This is the culture of Ida B. Wells, of James Baldwin, Nat Turner, Aretha Franklin, Malcolm X, Katherine Johnson, Fred Hampton, Tupac Shakur, Toni Morrison, Harriet Tubman, Big Mama, and Deacon Jones. We about shotgun houses and soul food kitchens, Sunday sermons and Saturday funk. It's not just about skin color. It's about cultural contribution and collective memory. And if you want to be part of that, You're going to have to do more than wear a costume. You're going to have to show some respect. And you're going to have to be willing to reinforce and protect that. See, look here. From here forward, FBA delineation it's not a suggestion. It's the standard. If you want to collaborate, cool, baby. But you're not going to come co-opt this. If you want to stand beside us, great. But you're not going to lead us, Joy Reid. Roland Martin. We don't need you speaking for us. If you want to live among us, that's beautiful. But bring value, not just an appetite. And see, we're done explaining our worth. We're done begging for recognition, and we're not melting. You understand me? We're forging. And see, this is the era of FBA cultural sovereignty. And if you don't like it, that's cool. That's perfectly fine. We didn't build this for your approval. We built it for our survival. Now, before I get too carried away and get this closing statement popping, I want to take the opportunity to thank each and every one of you who contributed to the super chat. And I ain't finished. I got more to say. I have a lot more to say, but we are on the end here. First of all, let me go ahead and get my mood music playing. We got 25 super chats. Perhaps if you learned something, and I'm not here begging for anything, but if you learned something, we can get to 30. Let me get my music playing. Let me get some trap music. Yeah. Y'all having a good time? Y'all having a shout out to me. Shout out to me for being great. Wouldn't y'all like to see me at Essence Festival? I'll come in there, I'll talk to you. I'll make sure everybody, all the ladies, have a handsome man you can lead with. I sure would, and I'll screen them good for you too. I'll make sure you get you a good one with some money too. That's what I'm gonna do. Let me go on ahead and read my super chats here. Shout out to, well, let me start with the Cash Apps. I'm not gonna say your last name. Shout out to my man, Roastmaster. Shout out to, thank you, Miss Ida. Thank you, Morris. I appreciate you. Who else we got in here? That was cool. We got about 3 super chats. I appreciate y'all. The other thing, let me go ahead and start reading these super chats to everybody. Look, I'm gonna make them run across the bottom of the screen. Look, we got 25 super chats. I appreciate everybody, but golly, let's see if we can get to 30. 30 would be great because we'll be a little light tonight, but I think I earned it. I think you all learned some. Shout out to my man, Urban Eagle. Always good to see you in here, brother. Dimitri Clark, good to catch you live, Uncle D. Living in Japan, hard to catch you. Yeah, man, I've been on vacation. I'm not about to be sitting up in here screaming at the internet all night, losing my voice, man. I took me about a 3-month vacation, but check out the videos. Anyway, thank you so much. Canary Valence for the collection plate. Appreciate you. Amen. Kenneth Williams, thank you for the $9.99 super chat. Who else we got in there? I can't say this. I'm going to just say, living my best life. I think that's what you meant. How can these people try to act superior? We got 27 super chats. Let's get to 30. Let's get to 30. How can these people act superior? They can even build their own resources. They're the lazy ones obsessed with America, looking for a turnkey country worthless. See, the problem with our African family is that they are easily divided, and that's not an issue that is germane to the African folk, but they have a culture that allows for them to be divided. And I don't want to dig deep into that, but they know that. They know what they're dealing with, and they're always looking for something from somebody else. Until you begin to know your own worth and value what you have, you're not going to look inward, you're going to look outward. We have that too, to a certain degree, but we've had great leaders who've come about, like the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and so many others who told us to do for ourselves and love ourselves, that we have a strong vein of Black people who follow that ideology. And it's not just members of those particular organizations like the Nation of Islam. It's just something that permeates our culture. We're going to get it done. We'll get it done type of people. Shout out to Penny Ford. She said Cincinnati Music Festival on the 26th and 29th is featuring the Actual Maze Band featuring Jubu. Ronald Isley and other special guests will be there as well. I'm flying in from Europe. We grown FBI with, man, I might have to come check that out, baby. I might have to come on up there and check out that Cincinnati. I got a case spinning in St. Louis. So I'm going to be taking that flight, that United flight to St. Louis pretty often, working on this case, man. But shout out to you, Penny Ford. Thank you so much. Timothy Bright, your barber has you looking crip. Boy, look at me. Yeah, buddy, hold on a minute. Look at that. Look at that. Look, touch y'all. Uncle D got that good hair. Look at me. Ooh, sharp. I'm out here sharp, baby. Sharp as a tack. Look at that. I got that good blend too. This is my version of the Boosie fade. I got that Boosie fade, but I do notice that my forehead is getting a lot bigger in my old age. My forehead used to come down to here. And now it seems like the barber is cutting my line up higher and higher every week. But nevertheless, that's something I have to deal with on my own personal time. Shout out to you, Timothy, and shout out to Miss Mimi Imani Faye. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Who else we got up in here? LaShawn Jones. What's up, LaShawn Jones? Good evening, Uncle D. I'm fortunate enough to catch another live. I love the play-by-play. Keep it up. I'm going to do what I do. Shout out to you. Orange Dinadia, we got 32 super chats. Let's get to 35, and that'll be live. I know y'all learned something. I know you learned something. Go ahead and click it, get your little fingers tagging and give me some super chats. Let's try to get to 35 before I finish with this. Orange DNA, thank you so much. I don't even know how much that is. I don't know what that sign is, but thank you so much. Red Sigma, thank you for the $2. Mr. Supreme, thank you for the super sticker. Also, Black Sand, big part of FBA culture is United States of America citizenship. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Speaking of which, if you all will be so kind, please post up the 1-800-ICE line. I heard they're paying $750 for turning in, for making anonymous phone calls. And I will say that there is a pair of alligator shoes that some green alligator shoes actually that I'm thinking of purchasing. And I'm on a strict budget these days. I'm trying to work on my retirement over the next 15 years, so I can't spend lavishly like I used to. But I still have a penchant for gators and so on and so forth. But don't call that number. You all shouldn't call that phone number. Y'all should not call that phone number and try to get that $750. I'd say don't do it. Okay, because we are beautiful people. We are wonderful and beautiful people, and we do not relish in other people's pain. And we would never, ever, ever call 1-866-DHS2-ICE and report our neighbors and friends, or your baby daddy's new girlfriend to ICE. You would never do that. You would never, ever do that. I know you wouldn't. Not for $750. Not for any amount of money. Okay. Per person. I know you wouldn't do, not a household, but per person. So if they go and they get 5 people, that's 750 times 5. I know you all would never do that because we don't relish in other people's pain. We're beautiful people. We are the soul of America. We are. Okay. America, of course, is about capitalism and making money, but that's not what I'm talking about. Of course, I want you all to be mindful that that's not what we do. That's not what we do here. Okay, let's get back to the reading. Praise God. All right, so Mr. Supreme, I got you already. Who else we got? Black Sand, and then also Chris, the Rebel. When we delineate, it puts the spotlight on them. They could cosplay being FBA, but no longer go home and show us how it's done. Yeah, y'all go make Haiti great again. Go make Jamaica great again. Go make Lagos. Go make Nigeria great again. That's what you show us, excel over there. That's what we want to see you do. Shout out to Alonzo Dunn. Uncle D, I'm not a generic African. I don't feel the need to embrace anything but any country on the continent of Africa. And I've been a couple. We're not the same in any way, not even looks. I know, brother, I know, but but we tried. Shout out to you all. We got 35 super chats. Let's get me to 40. That'll be sporty. Anyway, y'all can help me support this Boosie fade that I just got. But thank you so much, brother. I appreciate you. Don, and see, the thing about Black Americans, it's not just race, it's lineage. I got family members as bright as that wall behind me. We still Black. So it's not just about ethnicity. It's not about color. It's about, and of course, you of African descent. But you and we all know that Black Americans are an amalgamation of many different races: Native American, African, European. We're all of that. Asian, some of us. So we're not just sub-Saharan African, but just keep that in mind. So it's not just you have to have the African component, but it's a lineage. It's a history. This is us. You understand me? And it's not meant for everybody to understand. We got 36 super chats. Let's get to 40. Shout out to Donna. Means you can call me Lala. That's right, baby. What's happening? I bet she was at Essence Fest. I bet I can tell by her smile that she know about Essence Fest. I bet she do. She know how to. I bet she wouldn't be up. She know to take that nap before she go to that late night concert up in there complaining. Shout out to Yaya Kids. Thank you so much, sweetheart, for the super sticker. Also, thank you, Lord Giatron, Uncle D. That's my little young homie, man. He been with me for a long time. Shout out to all my OGs who've been up in here for a minute, man. We used to be up here chopping it up all night, damn near half a decade ago, man, all my guys. He said, Uncle D, I think I have something to share with you about the mindset of the modernity in both men and women. Salute the show. Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate you. Penny Ford, my older brother had 5 children in Freetown, Sierra Leone in West Africa, who now live in America. Although we are blood, I am FBA and they are not. We haven't had the conversation yet. Not looking forward to it. Man, that is interesting. Thank you so much, baby. That is interesting. You got a very interesting story. Shout out to Alonzo Dunn. Look at the ungrateful, disrespectful tethers on this app. Sorry, but they are only good for one thing, nothing. They act like we're immigrants. Yeah, that's unfortunate. And what the brothers say when they say tether, it's like a boat tethering itself to another boat and just being drug along. And so you're not using any of your resources and you're not cutting away. You just getting a free ride. But we got 36 super chats. I know y'all learned something. At least y'all can get me to 40. Okay, let me get 4 more super chats. 4 more super chats so we can get to 40. Maybe we'll get there, maybe we won't. But the truth is, if you didn't learn something and I didn't earn my money, I'm okay with that. You see what I'm saying? I'm okay with that. I would try harder next time. I'm not out here begging for nothing, but I know I put in a lot of work. And I'm not going to be intellectually dishonest with it either. That's the other thing. But who else we got in here? D-Man said, Dennis channels Dr. Amos Wilson's clarity and Malcolm X's fire, asserting FBA cultural sovereignty with righteous precision, ownership, not assimilation, is survival. Bravo. Man, that is one of the highest compliments that I've ever been paid. I appreciate you, brother. God, Lee. I thank you so much. And those are 2 great men. I suggest you check out Dr. Amos Wilson. And much of his conversation related to culture is what I have based my assertions on, because of course Dr. Wilson is no longer with us, and of course Brother Malcolm is no longer with us, but their spirit and their work remains, and we just have to take the opportunity to truly dissect it and read it. I've done a lot. I'm not one of these people who just looks at a YouTube video and then goes and recites it. I've been at this since I was 5 or 6 years old. It's just that I've been formally educated. But yeah, and as far as being what we used to call conscious or woke, that's what we used to call it. It's just basically knowing your history, having knowledge of yourself and your people. Shout out to the 5%ers. But anyway, let's keep on pushing. Alicia, thank you so much for the $2.99 super stickers. Cody Marshall, unfortunately, I had you got to work Essence. Oh man, shout out to you, brother. Jay Willie, we got 37 true super chats, 3 more super chats, and we'll be at 40. I'm learning something. That's right, baby. Thank you so much, Jay Willie. Also, Cody Marshall, the FBA was a master key to every lock. Amen to that. Patricia Hightower, 199. Thank you so much. Play the mood music. That's what we do, baby. We play that mood music and we get in it. Y'all make sure all my people in New Orleans, man, somebody send me a po' boy. I done made myself hungry. I need somebody to send me a po' boy to my law office. You get it up there, send it to me FedEx. Y'all can freeze dry, but you can go to one of them duck offs. Somebody type duck off in the chat room. Go to any one of these duck offs in New Orleans. You'll get you a good po' boy at the corner store. But Crafty Brown Girl, thank you so much. D-Lee, I miss New Orleans. I ain't gonna even lie. I do miss some aspects of New Orleans, boy. I really do. It was really beautiful people in New Orleans, man. Shout out to Praying for Ann Alicia. Thank you so much. Bring Ginger, Ethan Truth. Thank you so much. And who else we got in here? Super Sticker, JV12. Also Mike 10. Good looking out for the $4.99. Who else we got up in? My girl Penny Ford, Green. Let me see here. Mike 10, you know knowledge priceless. That's what I'm talking about. Penny Ford, let me see here. Green now, a later gate. Oh yeah, I got them green gators. I got them green gators pop. I'm trying to tell you, I'm gonna show one day. I'm gonna get the right sponsor. Y'all gonna see Uncle D in here promoting alligators, belts and shoes. Ain't nothing more American than some alligator shoes, baby. That's the generation of people I grew up under, man. It was nothing for my Uncle Slim to come in the house. He had painted his Cadillac pink, and he had a pink suit to go with it, man. So, you know, these are the people who used to walk in my grandma's house after coming from the club at 2:30 in the morning. You know what I'm saying? Oh, man. Shout out to Jay Willie. Get the super chats up. Valuable information. Yes, it is. We got 39 super chats. Yeah, we almost there. Thank you so much, Jay Willie. H-Town in the building. These people think about money instead of culture. FBAs are this country's disrespectful terrorism. Yeah, that because, you know, a lot of immigrants come to this country to use it. See, they come to this country to get their money and leave. So what do they care? You know, they basically coming to America. Shout out to Torrin Jones and also JD Lee and also CJS Ramen. We got 40 super chats. That is outstanding. Woo! Yeah. Anyway, look here. I got something else to say. I got to give you this closing statement because I got to put this in context for everybody. Let me go ahead and turn my mood music off. All right. Now we got 40 super chats. It'll be great to get to 50. That'll be nifty. We hadn't got to 50 at all, but and the truth is, I do appreciate everybody who's contributed. It lets me know you appreciate my work, and it justifies me spending all these hours doing this stuff, even though I enjoy it tremendously. Now, look here. Are y'all listening to me? Can everybody hear me clearly? Let me get the microphone together. You're not in Lagos, and you're not in Kingston, and you're not in Accra. Okay? You're in the homeland of foundational Black Americans. So let's stop playing games. Black America is not a blank canvas for African and Caribbean immigrants to paint over. This land is already drenched in blood and struggle and brilliance and culture. Our blood, our struggle, our brilliance, our culture. You didn't create it. You didn't suffer to build it. You didn't bleed to keep it alive. You arrived. You're welcome. You were welcomed. But somewhere along the line, too many of you all mistook hospitality for hierarchy. And you thought you could set the tone. That ends now. Culture is not geography, it's survival. What we created as foundational Black Americans is not just Black culture. It is a survival system forged in fire and oppression. It was not imported. It was invented. It was created by us. We did not land here with tribal customs and kente cloths. We were stripped of those. We made something from nothing but pain and brilliance. We created jazz and gospel and hip hop and blues and R&B and soul food and the black church and the black vote and civil rights from ashes of chattel slavery and Jim Crow. And that's why it resonates. That's why it's global. That's why it dominates, because it cuts to the soul of what human beings are supposed to be. You cannot outperform that. You cannot outlast that. You will either be absorbed into it or you will disappear. Now ask yourself this. Shout out to X. What happens to a culture that doesn't adapt or contribute? You want your culture, your Nigerian, your Jamaican, your Haitian, your Trinidadian, your Ghanaian, you want your culture to survive in America? Then respect the people whose house you're living in, because here's the warning. If your culture is not contributory, sustainable, or adaptive, it will be either absorbed in the FBA culture, which is already dominant in language, music, media, politics, and style, or it'll be rejected as irrelevant, extractive, and anti-Black American. That's not a threat. That's what happens to every immigrant group in America who doesn't contribute to the host culture. Don't believe it. Look at the Irish. Look at the Italians. Without deep cultural input and mutual respect, you're going to get folded into the mix or discarded. You are not owed a cultural spotlight just because you're melanated. And the other thing is, respect is not automatic, it's earned. FBA culture is already dominant. You're in our orbit. Every African immigrant that steps off a plane in Atlanta, every Caribbean student on a U.S. college campus, you're stepping into an FBA orbit. Our slang, our fashion, our music, our social code, our political reality, you live inside of it. The dominant culture, or should I say the dominant cultural logic of Blackness in America is foundational Black American culture. It's FBA. You use our slang. You rap in our cadence. You mimic our clothes and our gestures. You adopt our style. You try to and you try to lead in our spaces. And you benefit from our political struggles, and you benefit from our affirmative action and DEI programs and HBCUs and stuff that we built. And yet some of you have the audacity to say, y'all ain't got no culture. We're better than you. Or we don't claim y'all. Or you're lazy. Or you're not really Black. And you're definitely not African. We're the real African Americans. Again, you all are being disrespectful in our house. And now the owners are coming to collect rent with interest. No more Pan-Africanism. Not without accountability. Black Americans have tried Pan-Africanism for 100 years. Marcus Garvey tried it. Malcolm X tried it. Kwame Ture tried it. And it always ends up the same. We reach out, we send money, we raise awareness, we open doors, and then we get mocked, we get robbed, we get ignored, and we get insulted. And now that we've said we are foundational Black Americans and started delineating, suddenly everybody wants to be united again. Too late. You said we weren't Africans. And now you can't sit with us. You said we had no culture, and now you can't share ours. You said we were lazy, so now you can't benefit from what we built. unless you come in the building, protect and uplift FBA culture, you will not be included. And we're going to continue to kick up dust every time even one of you Africans or Caribbeans is in charge of one of our institutions, including Essence Festival, anything else. This is what's happening. All y'all have to offer is criticism. That's it. If you want your culture to survive and thrive in America, you need to do what we did. We fought. We invented. We created systems. We birthed movements. We made America reckon with itself. Y'all can't say the same. You just came over here to consume the benefits and the privileges. If all you do is extract the music, the platforms, the civil rights gains, the wealth, the credibility, then you're not only a tether, as I said, you're a parasite. And you need to be expelled. And see, this isn't about color. It's about cultural weight. If you want to be accepted in Black America, don't just wave a flag and play your drums. Don't just cook your food and expect praise. Don't come here criticizing our women and our politics and our men and our hair and our dialect and then expect us to welcome you with open arms. You need to earn your seat. You need to bring something of value. You need to build something worth having. And more importantly, you need to honor those who died so you could stand here. Stop trying to overwrite what you didn't build. FBA culture will remain dominant because it is the only culture that has proven it can withstand and survive the onslaught of white supremacy and remain intact. We are the blueprint that the rest of the world follows. We are the cultural creators. We are the ones who turn horror into rhythm, who turn pain into poetry, and who turn cotton into capitalism. You understand me? So you're going to either blend respectfully into this culture or you're going to be shut out of it. We are not anti-African. We are not anti-Caribbean. We are not. But you're not entitled to a free ride. We gave you all kind of love. All of y'all, including the Mexicans and all the other immigrants looking at this. The Asians and all of y'all. We gave all y'all love. Y'all come to our communities and set up your little liquor stores and nail salons and hair studios and all that. And we gave y'all love and money and we set y'all up and y'all gave us disrespect in return. Now look here. At some point, everybody got to bring the mule back in the barn. And see, at this point, the line is drawn. So here's your choice. And I'm talking specifically to the Caribbeans and the Africans. Either you assimilate respectively or you're going to be outside. Because FBA culture is not going to shrink to accommodate you. You will either rise to meet the standard or fall into irrelevance. This is our land. It is our fight. It's our culture. And the age of cultural entitlement is over. Look, no more symbolism. It's time to build to be gone. We've said what needs to be said. We've drawn the line in the sand. We've delineated. Now, for those still standing on the right side of that line, whether you're African or Caribbean or otherwise, here's your chance to get it right. That door to harmony is not closed, family. But it's no longer a revolving one. The only way through is now is through earned respect and tangible contribution and genuine humility. See, it's not about skin tone. It's about cultural weight and reciprocity. Foundational Black Americans built a culture under the most hostile, genocidal, anti-Black environment ever devised. And not only did we survive, but we birthed the most influential Black culture on earth, along with the wealthiest. And that's not ego talking, family. That's verified in history. So if you are a recent arrival from the Caribbean or some African country or otherwise, there's a very simple litmus test. Are you here to help? Or are you here to eat for free? See, we don't need this performative solidarity. We need soldiers. You want to call yourself brother and sisters, then show up like one. And what does that mean? Don't just show up for Juneteenth and wear some kente cloth. Show up at the city council meetings and demand funding for FBA neighborhoods. Don't just show up and enjoy the music. Stand up for the cultural creators when they're being attacked or erased. Don't criticize Black single mothers. Mentor their children. Don't mock our English, our names, or our trauma. Honor it. Learn from it and protect it. Because here's what you're not going to do anymore and not get called out. You're not going to come into our spaces and tell us we're lazy. You're not going to use our culture and get rich while mocking us, the very people who made it. You're not going to benefit from our political wins without backing us in the fight. And you damn sure not going to steal our swag while telling us we have no heritage and no culture. That era is done. See, the thing about it is unity must be rooted in the truth and boundaries. Unity is not everybody Black gets a pass. Unity is a shared struggle. It's shared goals and it's shared sacrifices. You can't unify with people who see you, who think they see you as beneath them. You can't unify with people who believe their flags or their colonial tongue make them better than you. And you definitely can't unify with people who think the FBA culture is up for grabs. So what does real unity look like? That should be your next question. It's respect for lineage. Acknowledge that without FBA sacrifices, none of y'all would be here, let alone have the rights and jobs or degrees. Them is Black jobs. Somebody type Black jobs in the chat room. Y'all got our Black jobs. Y'all got our Black degrees and y'all got our Black rights. That's what they are, Black jobs. Somebody type Black jobs in the chat room. Yeah, real unity looks like respect for lineage. It looks like cultural contribution. Don't just come to consume, come to build, come to teach, come to invest. Real unity is political alignment. Stand with us when we fight, not just in hashtags, okay, but at the ballot box, in courtrooms, in policy debates. Stop purposely try to side with them folks so you can get brownie points, so you can get a pat on the head. Real unity is spiritual humility. Understand that you're not entering a blank space. You're joining a people who have fought wars not to just survive inside their own country, quietly getting all you can with plans to run back to your country. And if you're serious about restoring Black excellence in America, you better get ready to get your hands dirty. Because here's the truth. FBA communities are under siege, more so than any other time in our history. Culturally, economically, and spiritually, we're dealing with gentrification, fatherlessness, miseducation, media erasure, over-sexualization. Essence Festival's on the decline. It's not just about ticket sales. It's a reflection of a cultural collapse happening in our neighborhoods and our relationships because of this onslaught. And the reason for the collapse is simple. No one is protecting the core of Black America, its values and its elders and its builders. And if you want to be accepted, stand in the gap, fam. Build businesses in Black neighborhoods. Marry Black Americans. Make families. And hold them in high regard. Don't be arrogant. Raise your children to know that they are guests in this legacy until they prove themselves as protectors of it. And stop trying to push that damn Afrobeat and patois and jollof rice as if it's going to replace a jambalaya, jazz, and soul food. Don't nobody want to eat that. Shoot. Show how to complement what we already have going on. You understand? If you want to stay here and you want to be part of, be a bridge, not a burden. Africans, Caribbean, look, you got a window of opportunity. We are loving people. All my Black Americans, we are loving, wonderful, beautiful people. Y'all need to, when I say that, y'all need to be like, yeah, I need the church to say, well, yes, we are. We are foundational Black American people are some of the most wonderful, beautiful, kind, loving, generous, outstanding, peace-loving, God-fearing people that have ever existed on this planet. Yes, we are. We are. That is us. You can still come in. If you want to be a bridge to the diaspora, you need to bring resources and land access and business ties and historical knowledge. You need to take your Black self back over there to Ghana and tell them to cut all that red tape out. That's what you need to do so our people can actually come over there. And when we come over there, don't be trying to scam and hustle and steal our land and whatnot. And all them con folk over there, swindlers you got. Be an ambassador of culture, but only if you understand you're entering a culture arena where FBA culture is king. Be a partner in the revolution, whether we talk about politics, economy, or spirituality. If you're willing to let go of the disrespect, and the condescension and lean into contribution, there's something that could be had. But if you choose instead to continue belittling us and calling us out our name and and trying to imitate us without giving us credit and challenging our leadership in our house, then you can expect to be treated like an opportunist, because that's what you are. And see, this is the blueprint moving forward. Respect isn't optional. Unity isn't conditional. And access isn't automatic. You want a future with us? Here's what you got to do. Acknowledge our contributions. Apologize for decades of disrespect publicly. Align your goals with ours, not just your vibes. Bring your best and leave your entitlement behind. See, family, this is not just about Essence Festival or the Diaspora Wars or Cultural Pride. This is about survival of Black identity on American soil. And the only one culture that has proven it knows how to survive here. And y'all know what that is. That's foundational Black American culture. Shout out to everybody who contributed to the Super Chat, the Cash App, and the PayPal. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. It's been great, but it's late. You know what I'm saying? It's been great, but it's late. This is me, Uncle D, and it's time for me to go to sleep. Shout out to everybody who came through. I love you. I pray for you all. Y'all have a wonderful evening. And as I always said this time, this is Uncle D, and I am out.
Dennis Spurling.
In the city where the lights don't sleep, Uncle D got the vibe so deep. Representing men strong and free. Dennis Spurling's the king of the spree. In the streets where the rhythm flows, Black men rising, that's how it goes. Uncle D got the truth to show. In his heart, that's where the fire glows. Late night tuning, light up the stream. Dennis Spurling wisdom gleam. For voices whisper truth and insight. In his podcast, feel the light. Harmony in every word. Truth and laughter you've heard.
That's all right.
Wave after wave of smooth delight. Dennis brings the dark to light.
That's the blizzard, baby.
Share the tales unfold. The stories pour like morning gold. Feeling the wisdom inside me. Subscribing like time after time.
Black men, I want to salute you. Your incarceration rate is down. The education rate is up. We up. We went from, we are doing great for ourselves. So you should salute yourself. Shout out to all the brothers out there, whether you're a truck driver or engineer, whether you're an electrician or garbage man, a doctor, a lawyer, if you a hard-working brother, if you fresh out the penitentiary, but you on your grind and you doing it legal and you trying to make amends for yourself, man, I salute you too, brothers. God bless you. This is Uncle D, and you know, I'm out.